Garfield Still, excused. Conrad Wilster, excused. Will Little White Man, late. George Dreamer, excused. David Clear.
Here.
Richard Greenwald.
Here.
Craig Dillon. Tyler Lunderman, excused. Norman Standing Soldier.
Here.
Jeremy Rosales, excused. Sonia Lenot Weston.
Here.
Jackie Sayers, excused. Anna Hardison, excused. Troy Little, excused. Wayne Littlethunder.
Here.
Julianne Swedenberg.
Present.
Quorum of 8.
So we do have quorum this morning. Sheet, can you give us a morning prayer?
Thank you, Chair. Gosh, I thank you for this day you brought today. It's beautiful out. I ask that you watch over those who's recently lost loved ones as you celebrate their coming into your world, and as we mourn their loss here in our world, I ask that you comfort those who are in mourning and give the strength to get through the day. Those who are less fortunate, those who are hungry, those who are homeless, all across the world, and all the chaos that we have going on around us. Those who are serving overseas or veterans, bring them home safe to their families. Without you,
Thank you, Mr. Greenwald. Mr. Poyer, can you give us some words of wisdom?
I don't know if it's any wisdom, but let's hope we get their agenda and get some things done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Question?
So, the approval of agenda, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 add-on items.
Please on there.
Number 11, we have Tuahe. They have a job description that needs approval. Number 12, IG. Number 13, we have the NARF needed approval for the resolution. Number 14, Chief Judge. Sorry, Julianne, I just want to apologize. You know, all the questions I had, I'm just trying to catch up yet. You know, so that's why I had the questions that I did. If it offended you, I didn't mean it that way. I'm just trying to catch up. So,
Thank you, Chair. Housing is, we had a shooting last night.
number 15.
Right.
Is what, housing?
Number 15 is housing.
Okay, and I can explain more once we get there.
Okay. And number 16, Chief of Police.
Okay.
And if you had any other add-ons? Go ahead, Norman.
I think that chief of police and housing should be meshed together, and they need to address one another.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, David.
Can we talk about the incident that took place, that little one last week?
Yeah, we'll put it up. Any others? If not, we need a motion to approve. Motion by Davey, second by Leaf. Got it.
Arnold Random. Approval of agenda. David Clear,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Sonia Little Weston,
Uh,
Wayne Littlefinger,
Yes.
Julianne Sweattinger,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, motion carried. So, first item is approval of minutes for October 22nd. Should be in your packet.
Question.
Question, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Sonia.
On the minutes from our last meeting, I know I made the motion, seconded by Jackie, to have the OST Legal Department review the Oglala County Veterans Committee proposed request for a charter and to review their bylaws, and to have the OST attorney work with the Oglala County Veterans Committee and draft an ordinance for an official charter and be back to the committee. Did that happen yet, or did the legal office have time to review that?
I have, they sent it to me the other day, so I'm reviewing it now.
Okay, but you're still working on it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We have a motion for approval.
One last question, our election code. We didn't finish the agenda in Eagle Nest because we lost quorum. And so that's still on the agenda, Mr. Chair. So I think maybe at our next end of the month, we gotta make sure that that gets on the agenda.
Yes,
Okay,
me and Cora talked about that
okay,
before yesterday, so we're gonna put it back on.
okay.
And number 1 on our items list for
November.
next meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Go ahead, Norman.
Motion to approve.
Motion, second by Julianne. Go ahead and run the vote.
Ronald Randall,
Yeah.
David Clear,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Sonia Little Weston,
Uh,
Wayne Littlefinger,
Yeah.
Julianne Sweattinger,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, motion carried. Okay, so moving on, the next item on the agenda here, OST Child Protective Services with the ICWA attorney.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I really appreciate.
Press the button, there you go.
Perfect.
Everybody.
Mr. Chairman and
Introduce yourself.
members of the committee, I appreciate you being here. Inviting me here. I'm Jim Sword. I'm your ICWA attorney in Rapid City. I was asked by the legal department if I couldn't come talk to you a little bit about what's going on in Pennington County. And so what I've provided to you is a list of the cases that we've had just over the last couple months. I guess the reason why I started tracking the numbers is you have a representative who also does work in Sioux Falls. And I had called that person about a couple of weeks ago, and I had asked them why they weren't tracking the cases in Sioux Falls. And what I was told is there are none. And so for 3 weeks in Sioux Falls, there were absolutely no cases involving any member, any family from the Oglala Sioux tribe. And so when I was asked to help you with these ICWA cases, I guess I really wasn't quite sure the extent and the volume of Pennington County. And I really can't really describe for you what happens in Pennington County other than to tell you that when you go to court, when you're in court, you have, and I'll just be blunt about it, you have probably 20 or 30 white social workers sitting there. You have attorneys that are all white sitting in the courtroom. The judge is white, and then in the hallways, the Native Americans have to sit in the hallways because they deem the court hearings to be confidential. So the Native Americans will sit, 20 plus families will sit in the hallways until their court cases get called. And what I would strongly encourage you to do is talk to your ICWA representative, Susan Schrader. She's seen it. And so the Native Americans sit in the hallway and they wait until their name gets called. And then when they walk into the courtroom, they're confronted with probably 20 plus white people that are all looking at them. And then of course the whole process is confusing if you don't have experience in it. And that's what the OST families are confronted with in Pennington County. When I was in the, one of the things with my military service is that the military tracks numbers. And so I see what goes on in the courtroom, I see what goes on in the hallway. I have had extensive discussions with Susan Schrader, your director, who is a very strong advocate for the families. And so I didn't know if what I was seeing or what I was feeling was correct. And so what I did was I started to track the numbers. And so what I've provided to you is just what I did for the last 2 months of tracking numbers. And what I provided to you is when a case comes in, they have to have a 48-hour hearing. That's the first hearing that we have. And so what I did was I took the total number of new cases from September 18th or September 8th through November 3rd of this year. And remember when I talked about the 3 weeks I've had in Sioux Falls, they didn't have any cases. In this 2 months that I was tracking, there were 32 new cases in Pennington County. That's 32 families. Of the 32 families, 27 of them were Native American. And so those would be Cheyenne River, Rosebud, primarily. There might be a couple from some of the other tribes, but those are the primary. So 84% of the total cases are Native American. And then in Pennington County, of the total number of those 32 cases, 23 of those were OST. So that means in the last 2 months, 72% of the total cases in Pennington County were OST families and children. And when you see the number 23, those are families. Those are, I don't mean to put a number on it, but literally that's 23 families. And then what I did was, I tracked the number of, in each of the cases, I tracked it by number of little ones, number of children. And the total number of children that came into the system was 50. Of those 50 children that came into the system, 43 were Native American. That means 86% of the total number of children taken up in Rapid City are Native American. And then of those 50 children, of those 50 little ones, 38%, or 38 of those children are OST children. That means that 76% of the total of children that were taken by the department in the last 2 months were OST little ones. And the only reason why I give this number to you is this is just 2 months. This is, and I would strongly encourage you to talk with Susan Schrader about what she sees. That's just 2 months. Now multiply that by 6 and you get a full year's total of the number of children and families that are affected up in Pennington County. My concern is that in Pennington County, and that's why I put the number down there, and I think it probably is a little bit off, but about 6%, maybe 6 to 10% of Pennington County is actually Native American, but you're making up 76% plus of the children taken by the department. And so I just wanted to give you those numbers, and then with the emphasis that that is a direct effect upon your ICWA staff, because your ICWA staff is dealing with an overwhelming number of families up in Pennington County. And
Good morning.
hey, good morning, Susan. I would, Mr. Boyer? And I don't know.
I guess my question is, well, when you said there's non-Indians sitting in the courtroom, and some are possibly caseworkers, I guess, and the other parties are attorneys. So does each caseworker have an attorney represent? Or I'm just wondering why there's so many caseworkers. Are they all defending? I mean, they're all on the same page, trying to get that one family, or
It is
how does that work?
So they'll have like 20 of them, and they all sit, and Susan's seen this, they all sit in a group in the courtroom, and each social worker will be assigned a certain amount of cases. So they sit on each other's cases. So you'll have like 20 or 30 cases in a morning, and each social worker might have 2 of those cases, but they all sit in there. And I can tell you just, sitting in there just by myself, it's pretty intimidating to see 20 social workers sitting there with all the attorneys. And unfortunately, I would tell you this too, is that the families, they rotate through 2 or 3 social workers in 6 months. The turnover, they don't keep consistency with our families. They don't work with the families. And so sometimes when they walk into the courtroom, they can't even tell you which social worker is even they're assigned to help them work through the case.
So is the social worker assigned during the court hearing or prior to?
Prior to.
Well, that's what I was pointing at. How come the other ones are sitting in there listening to them?
That's just the rule. So when you're working with the department, you get to listen in to everybody else's case too.
Go ahead, Norman.
I really appreciate these figures. I mean, they're kind of astounding. They are astounding. What we can't do now is we can't blame because the facts are on the paper. What we have to do now is come to a solution of how we maybe improve our ICWA situation here on the reservation to send more people up there to protect our children and enhance our guardianship on the reservation to bring them back. Right now the focus has got to be on that, nothing else. I mean, they could have 100 social workers in that courtroom, but as long as we keep our strength and go up there, get our children, bring them home, that's all that matters. Let's focus on that rather than playing the blame game. It's already there. There's enough blame in Rapid City to go around till the end of time. But right now, it's the young children we have to have at heart. So let's find that solution, Susan. Let's break down your budget. Let's see where we can put more people in our ICWA department, because right now, this is outrageous. This is outrageous numbers, and I cannot believe they were this bad. Holy smokes, okay, thank you guys.
Question.
Go ahead, Sonia.
You know, I believe the figures that are given to us because, you know, I think we've heard that too long, that these things like this were happening in Pennington County. And I think one thing is, you know, the ICWA office here in Pine Ridge does need a lot of help. And I think Susan has brought forward this last meeting, Susan, a couple of job positions that we did approve of her to start working with Pennington County, that area, and one I think was going to be here on the reservation. And so we did approve those, and I think the contracts for those two positions.
They've started.
And they started? Okay, so that's good, but we really need to continue to support the ICWA office part of it because we need more positions. And I remember back in, because I've been on here a long time, and the thing about it is, at one point in time, they wouldn't even allow them to go into the courtroom. The ICWA position, the people that worked in the ICWA office could not even go into the courtroom to represent those children, our children. So I do believe that is happening, but I do want to say today that we have two of our great granddaughters and under this system. And I think I'm going to use that for an example, but the social worker from Pennington County sent us a letter, said, under South Dakota law, public law, whatever she cited on there, that they have to notify you to let you know that there's a court hearing that's coming, you know, sometimes in a future, whatever date. But they give you that. They never gave me that before. I sent them back a message. I said, you haven't given this to me before. If I knew that, I would have went. I probably would have been sitting in the hallway too now that you said that. But again, if this is the way they're treating our parents, or the grandparents of these children, then the whole reason behind ICWA is to bring our children back. Those are our children. We should be bringing them back here under our court system and working with CPS and ICWA. And that's why we had prior, you know, former Dana Hannah was working on these cases. Now we have our attorney, Jim Sword, and I'm glad to meet you today. I've never met you. I've never seen you. I think we hired you last administration, I think it was. So it's good to put a name to a face, you know. And so I will say that, you know, today. But it is, what he's saying is true. You know, different social workers are going to call you. Different ones are going to, one's going to tell you this, and then later on another one's going to call you and tell you another thing. So what is our people going through? You know, it's really sad that this is happening over there. So I don't know, we can say, you know, let's try to do something to help ICWA part of it. But what other solution does our attorney, our ICWA director have for us in what's going on up there? Because I think that needs to be brought up. I said there was a court case that we won, and I think it was because of things like that happening. So I think we need to stand strong, and we need to show them that we need to be coming up with being stronger than what they're doing to us. If you got 20 social workers sitting in a courtroom, non-Indians, and then our tribal members have to sit outside in the hallway, that is just uncalled for, and I think we need to bring that to somebody's attention. You know, that's just not right. But I will say that as a grandparent, great-grandparent, I am taking care of our two great-granddaughters, and I said, heck no, they're not going to go to no white home and non-Indian foster home. You know, I said, but again, what I'm saying is that what they're saying is true. You know, so state workers are going, and they come onto the reservation now. I brought that up a while back, and I think Rayanne said it, and there's somebody else said it. Well, because we have a partnership that we're able to go over there when they place children in non-Indian homes. They have to go over there, they got to do a safety check, and they got to do, okay, I understand all that. But now they're coming onto the reservation and they're doing that too. You know, so we have to, I know we have to work together on that part, but I really have some concerns about how they're handling these cases too. And how, you know, I don't know if they're really abiding by our ICWA law, But we need to start really pushing, they need to recognize our ICWA law, because those children need to come back to our court system and work through the CPS and the ICWA part. So I will say that because I do know it is happening. But I want to hear what kind of solutions you guys, what are you thinking we should do? The attorney brought some things up, and he says Susan knows and she sees this, but I think as tribal leaders, we need to step up and we need to do something about how our people are being treated.
So Susan, real quick, those ordinance was just passed not too long ago. Pennington County's not following those? It's on there.
So my understanding, and Jim can clarify this, is the judge is saying, well, what about separation of powers? Can the council override something that the court should do? And so we've got transfers, we start processing those transfers, and now I think they're just now starting to come through the pipe, but it's like they're questioning our own authority and our internal stuff, and I'm gonna let Jim give his, but that's how I see it. They're questioning us when they should be abiding by that federal law and not questioning what we as a tribe are doing internally.
So, you know, when we look at solutions, one of the things that you had done, and you had given Susan the power to transfer everything, transfer cases back. And so Susan has directed us to start bringing those little ones home and transferring a lot of the cases back. And then what the judge has done is she has stopped all the transfers. And so she has questioned the OST Council's authority to pass the ordinance. She has questioned Susan's ICWA workers and whether or not they're competent. And so we have hearings set for the middle of November on her, on the transfer motions that she's opposing, with the understanding, and I appreciate a lot of the attorneys that have represented family members and the parents, and they're pretty upset about it too. So you have a team, and then I've also worked with the legal office and Lisa Cummings and her staff to get all this done. And so we hope to get this done. I hope that we get this done in the middle of November. But if not, Susan and the legal office have instructed me to appeal it to the South Dakota Supreme Court. I also have been working in keeping in contact with the OST's legal office, and they are working through issues and identifying things that we could take into federal court. And so that's in the process. Obviously, the attorneys that you have working at the legal office are a lot smarter and stuff like that than I am, so that's why I just forwarded it over to them.
We have Julianne, then Rich.
Thank you. And, you know, I want to thank Mr. Swart for being here and presenting these numbers. And I asked my colleague here, how many students can you have in a classroom? And when you look at the numbers per child, for the children that are being taken for the Oglala Sioux tribe into the system, that's 38 Oglala Sioux children from September 8th through November 3rd that are taken into the system. That's 2 months. That's a classroom size of children that are being taken. And, you know, that kind of just hurts my heart to hear that. And I'm trying to put myself in that courtroom and understand what our representation is. At the same time, I'm trying to look at our treaties and wonder what authority this judge has to question our ordinances. And maybe we need to put more strength behind that. But the question was, you brought here, whose attention do we bring it up to? Well, you're bringing it to our attention, and it's for us to act on. And the unfortunate part is the solution is supporting our CPS and our ICWA representation. And I know I talked with Susan about this recently, is who is our representation for our non-welfare cases up there for our children as well. And, you know, I'm sure those numbers would be added to this number also. And to hear that Sioux Falls has no representation there, or that there was no children accounted for there, concerns me, because we know that's not true. So my concern is, do we have a grasp of how many children are there, or what are we doing to ensure that we are protecting our children across the state as well?
So the one nice thing about Sioux Falls, they have a very good judge, Judge Howman. She's a wonderful lady. She treats everybody with respect. She sends out Zoom links. So our representatives in Sioux Falls attend in person or via Zoom link. So nothing's going undone in Sioux Falls. And my concern is that you have Judge Howman in Sioux Falls who respects the Oglala Sioux tribe and its ordinances. And so really your first transfer that occurred was not here, under your new ordinance, was not here. But your representative in Sioux Falls was able to work with Judge Howman and the attorneys and the prosecutors to get the transfer. So our first transfer under your ordinance was in Sioux Falls. And so the reason why there was no cases in 3 weeks, they don't take kids. They work with families. And so when I asked about Sioux Falls and why you didn't have any cases, it was my fault, because I was using my experience from Pennington and saying that that was Sioux Falls, and that's not the experience in Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls will work with families, get kids back in. The transfer that we had in Sioux Falls, the child was taken in Sioux Falls, but they had relatives over in Martin. And so the whole system worked, and Judge Howman worked, could get the little ones back to Martin. And then we transferred, and then of course now Susan supervises the case, but those little ones are just over in Martin. And so you can see just, we're all within the same state, but we have two different systems. One in Sioux Falls respects what the tribe does and the family members do. Even in Fall River County, right next to you in Hot Springs, the judge in Fall River County looked at your ordinance and he respected it. And I think that hearing lasted maybe 5 minutes and it was transferred. But like up in Pennington County, I don't know, when we go to Pennington, it's like none other than the other 64 counties in the state, and I don't know why that is.
So I guess my question would be, what do you need from us to strengthen your fight there, Susan? And then we need to be prepared for the influx of kids coming home. And so we need to make sure that we're prepared for that as well.
Yeah, so I think that the continued support and awareness of this community is really important. I mean, you guys got that ordinance through to address that standing order that had prohibited transfers for at least 6 years. So and continued support of our legal representation. So we have Jim supported by the tribe. We had an end of the year contract. We have Mr. Joseph Ashley Parr.
Oh, you should come in.
And then we have Tiwahe, who's supporting Todd Love. So we have 3 attorneys working all these cases. And you also approved those elderly contracts. So we have Norma assisting Ray and Rapid, and then we have Wilma Coloff assisting finding relative placements for both CPS and ICWA down here. So what you're doing, I thank you, and to have this open communication is really important. And I would just ask for support if we want to try to hire people or contract people, support us because we need it. And Tiwahe is training 5 navigators, and they will be 5 people that can work with these families both on and off the reservation. And then also any support of our families. So like for example, we had a case that's in front of tribal court this morning for transfer. And grandma was gonna take the kids, but grandma got evicted. So grandma had to move in with the mom. and, you know, and the mom is still actively abusing alcohol. So the ICWA staff was like, well, do we want to give those children to grandma whenever she's gonna be in the home where mom still have to deal with her issues? And so the grandmother made a comment, well, you guys are taking my kids from me and you guys can't pay my $5,000 back rent, you know, and it gets almost like custody kind of like. But I would just say in general, continue to do what you're doing, and if we can come up with any funding or any ideas for staffing and support of families, because what would be so wrong with helping that grandma with rent? You know, if I could identify the money, I would, you know, and you know, it's a little difficult right now because of Trump's and the lack of the 26 BIA funding, but you know, I might be able to come up with something to help her. So the transfer went before tribal court, but like I said, the tribal court accepts the transfers, but then they're going in front of Judge Wickery and she's holding off on them. So that's a fight that I think Jim is you know, going to take up next week. But just continue to do what you're doing, and if there's, you know, I'll work to try to get some money somewhere, write a grant or something, and you know, and to just keep fighting the fight and taking it case by case. And if families are having a hard time and they're contacting you, get a hold of us. Get a hold of us, you know, because if I have to assign someone from the Pine Ridge office to go up and work a few cases, I will.
So we have Rich, Beef, Norman, then Sonia.
Pretty frustrating listening to a lot of this stuff. At first I thought, my first initial things was that, oh, maybe it's like ice in Rapid City and they're just picking up people.
Yeah.
But that's not what the case is. There's people's behaviors that are causing them kids to be picked up and taken. Am I correct?
Yes.
To say that? It's behaviors. But we're more concerned about pouring more money into everything else. That's how we're always reactive. And then I sat and listened, and you're already doing the things that needed to be done. You got to hold the legal office, you got to hold our attorneys, you're already doing what you needed to do. But I kind of got fired up at first. We got ICE going around picking up our kids, and they're dark colored. But that's not what's going on. There's calls being answered to, just like here. Susan, you know that, just like here. Cops are being called to houses because kids are either being abused and neglected or whatever else. We got the Tawahe program. They start going into schools. They had to kind of back off on some stuff, from my understanding, is because some of the reporting that's been going to you from that is that there's kids being abused to this day, not even just physically, mentally, but sexually. I have to hold on, slow down. It's because we're finding out there's a lot more to this. And the behavior. Here we go. We go into court. Grandma got evicted. What she just did? Somebody just didn't go out there and say, "See you later. You're gone." Boarded up her house. What happened? Grandma, why is your house boarded up? This is generational behavior that's brought down from one. Grandma probably was, and I'm not saying that's the case. Grandma might have been. We had a arrested lady. They called her Grandma Gangster on Porcupine. She was our biggest bootlegger in the whole area. Well, what if Grandma was a thug back in her day, and that's all she taught her kids, and then they caught their kids, and they taught their kids? We have to be able to go in and start breaking that behavior, educating our kids in school, our parents, parental classes, which I believe you guys do. That's where we need to focus a lot of our attention to, because until we address those behaviors, our people think it's okay to go up to Rapid and do whatever they want, like they do here, and get away with it. You can't. You can't do that in another city. You can't do that off the reservation. The other day I was going up the street, and I kid you not, there was a dog. Remember those makeshift crosswalks they have on this road construction? Sat there and waited for traffic, and then crossed the crosswalk. But yet, do you think some of our street people will do that? No, they dart out right in front of you. Some of them got run over in the past. I almost ran over 2 people. The behavior has to be changed. If a dog could learn how to cross a crosswalk, so can our people. If a dog could do that, then we could learn how to follow rules and laws that don't get our kids taken away from us. But we need to do a better job on our end of educating people and holding people accountable in our system. I'm sure that these course, there's probably a bunch of them because from my understanding, there's 700 youth and family cases in the court system in Rapid City. Plus, that's not just the kids that were taken, but other calls where law enforcement's involved and CPS has been called. So imagine you have 20 people trying to handle 700 cases, kind of like what you do here, probably higher than that here. And they're all sitting there waiting to go to court. But there's families that are sitting in the hallway. I get that. Look, the appearance looks like we can't control a judge's how they want to set the rules for their court. But I couldn't imagine having all them 20 families sitting there listening when we have rights for them children not to be publicly put out there as this is a victim of sexual assault, this and that. They have rights. That judge has to keep them families separated so that the children are protected as well. Imagine you have 30 families in there, which wouldn't fit in the courtroom for one. But imagine I'm listening to all the beef on that kid. Now, that's not like kids' privacy has been totally violated. So the judge has to follow something. You know, so I just wanted to bring those on our end. We need to work on our behaviors. But I think what you told me is you guys are doing what you need to do. Get our people involved, let's start filing some stuff in state court to the Supreme Court if we have to, all the way up to the federal court. You guys are doing what you're supposed to do. Can you use more help? Yeah, we could all use more help. Our law enforcement is short, everybody's short. We're in the middle of a shutdown, no money's coming in. But you guys are still out there doing what you got to do, and I thank you for that. Thank you for your report today.
You got beef, Norman, then Sonia.
All right, yeah, thank you for your report, and thanks for coming down. I know we could sit here all day and talk about this over and over. We could sit here and rattle our swords, our arrows, our horns, but we know we got to strengthen our own judicial system. Our failures here. We have a stigma it's been many, many years of lawlessness on this reservation and no law, period. So we have an uphill battle to take care of that and address that. And we have since I've been here, we've been working on this judge and all these positions. So we got to take care of everything here on the reservation ourselves first. Susan was aware of a case that my granddaughter in Sioux Falls. They were willing to give her back. It was our system that was the roadblock. One person kept going. So those are the things we got to take care of. Our system first here. And we got to get rid of that stigma that this is a lawless reservation. We have our job in front of us. So I'm just going to say that much. And that's what we got to work on ourselves first. We have to provide a place for our kids to come back to. They have a judicial system that is strong enough to stand up in any system, but we're not there yet. But thank you.
Norman?
A lot of issues end up here in this circle. And a lot of these issues don't have to come here. We have enough programs out there to create a functioning society. We've got everything from dog catching to Susan's program, everything in between. Every program has got to do what they were put in place to do, starting with housing, working its way to law enforcement, Susan, Child Protective Services, ICWA to reclaim our kids. And you're right, it isn't the kid's fault. They didn't tell mom and dad to get in an argument, get the cops called on them, but yet they're the victim of it. And Susan's program will protect them because bottom line, that's what we pay people to do. People receive a paycheck to do these jobs. And if we're going to get involved as a council, then by God, we got to enforce job descriptions on people to get these done. And let's quit catering because we get emotional. Wowichatanka. Fortitude. If you're going to sit in these positions, by God, learn what that word is. And it doesn't base it on emotion. Knowledge is what guides us. So let's put a motion to the side, and let's make them really hard choices about doing what we have to do to make our society function. Thank you.
Sonia?
You know, I just want to say that, you know, there is families probably that are not there for their children or their grandchildren to support them. But there is grandchildren, grandparents and parents that sit at these courthouses, and they are there to support their children and grandchildren. I will say that, speaking as a grandmother, great-grandmother. And so today I'm going to say that, you know, when we passed that ordinance on that standing order, back then, the standing order was done by then Chief Judge Charlie Abrest. And that's why no cases were transferred back to the tribal court. He made it that way. But when it was brought to our attention that we needed to amend that ordinance, that's what was done. We amended that ordinance. Because we are the legislators and we can do that. So today I see that when it got to that judge in Pennington County, she's questioning the tribe's involvement. And she's questioning separation of powers. Should they have not, it's like she's questioning us, should we even have amended that ordinance? I mean, to me, that is wrong, and I think that we need not only our attorney bringing it to us today, but the CPS, the ICWA side of it, he's got some other attorneys working with him. But if it comes to that point, we need to get our own attorney to start looking into it. You know, maybe Mr. Gunn needs to be put on this, or one of the other ones. You know, we had some cases in state court that we just now won, an individual won. And I think that we need to start looking further into what's going on there. But we're the ones that make the law, and we say, you implement the law. But for her to be questioning our law, that is just really not good. And I think that as council, we need to make sure that we need to address that, because there is families out there that are not there for their children or their grandchildren. I will say that. But there is grandparents and parents that care enough that they will go to those court hearings and sit there. You know, so I will say that today. So today, whichever way we're going to go with this, I do know that Susan is, you know, they are overwhelmed. They have all these court cases that they have to deal with. But ICWA is an ICWA law, federal law, that says you transfer those cases back to the tribal court. You know, and those are our children that are enrolled with this tribe. And like Councilman Randall was saying, you know, we need to fix things here, and I think that's what you're trying to do by hiring more people, and we need to support that. We need to support that so we can make our ICWA office a lot stronger here on reservation, but off reservation too. So I don't know, I want to thank the attorney, Mr. Sword, for bringing this report to us. But it doesn't sit right with me to just sit and say, well, we'll just let it go, and the judge is going to sit on all these transfers because that's what she's going to do. Why is she doing it? Because she's questioning us, questioning our law. She's questioning our law, so she's not transferring no cases back, which I think is not right. So we need to get somebody on this to help Mr. Sword to find out what is happening here. So I think that needs to come from this governing body here to maybe even assign one of the attorneys to start looking into it with him.
Wow.
But that'd be my recommendation to committee, you know, because she's not listening. That's state. You know, that's state judge. And I think we need to start really pushing hard back on our ICWA law, because the ICWA law is the federal law, and it is, you know, whether or not you see the parent, grandparent, whatever they did, it's the children that matter right now. So that's where I want to come from. Thank you.
Norman?
I'd like to make a motion that we either assign or direct our ICWA local program to work with all entities that are involved with child protection, that includes the ones out of Rapid City, to get and examine this situation, how we could better serve it, and bring us a report in 2 weeks of where we're at. And council would like to know who is all involved in helping in this situation, and what is needed. What is needed for these numbers to go down, and include on Betuluta, our treatment programs, housing, anybody that houses a child or cares for a child. I think this is a start of where we're gonna get back to a functioning society.
What is your thoughts on it, Jim?
So we have a motion on the floor. Rich, go ahead.
So, I don't know if we quite need to assign an attorney at this point. I think in the discussions with what you're doing already started. I think maybe Norman, instead of like assigning, just say support them, and you already have started a conversation with the legal office, but maybe come back next week, and if at that point you guys decide, yeah, this is something we're ready to move forward on, and we want this attorney assigned, then we can know who that is and just assign them at that point.
It's not the attorney, it's our programs that deal with children on the reservation, Rapid City, housing, emergency youth shelters. We're looking at everybody that can help out in your cause, because if you're bringing all these kids back, we're gonna have placement, and we're gonna have to improve the living situation where they're at. So hit everybody you can, Susan, it don't matter who.
So you want me to come back, to meet with everybody that's involved in regard to...
Can you come up to the mic?
Okay, Norman, so you're asking me to look at what's going on in Rapid and that community, or from a programmatic sense?
Yes, and also enforce, like I spoke before, job descriptions on the people that are involved in this, and force your hand on them doing a more efficient job of supporting the kids, regardless of where they are. They could be in Sioux Falls, they could be Rapid City, it don't matter where they are. But they need our total support, and they need to know that if they do come back here, they will have what they need.
So, I just wanted to, for a point of clarification, or I'm not clarifying to you, but I just wanted to report to you, Norman, that before we even ask for a transfer, we have a plan. So we have a relative identified. So for example, Beef mentioned his Takoja. We had a plan for that Takoja girl before we consented to Minnehaha County to bring her back. So we're not going to ever consent to transfer of jurisdiction unless we have a plan for that child. And then once they're transferred back, we're going to provide oversight and support of that family until permanency is granted. Because we're also dealing with issues of financial support of these kids. Okay, so if Sonia's great-granddaughter was in her kinship care in Rapid City, the state would give her a supplemental extra payment of $600 a month per child. But then if Sonia was down here, we transferred that case back and we gave her those Takoja, she would have to go to TANF and get $200 a child. So there are some of those kind of financial and administrative issues that we have to go through. And so it's a very complicated issue, Norman, and so I think that the purpose of Jim being here is just to show you the barriers that these families go through. So I totally get what you have, Sheech. We all have family issues and family members that lose their kids because of drinking or drugging or whatever. But the barriers to work towards reunification that those parents go through. And sometimes it's not just parents, it's aunties or grandmas they're taking these kids from. And so it almost seems like the system supports foster parenting more than it does returning those kids, and that's where our fight is these donor issues that we're dealing with on not only like bringing them home, but like on because ICWA holds South Dakota DSS to the fire. They're supposed to be reunifying our families. They're supposed to be providing those resources to do that. So, and if they're not doing, a lot of times they're saying, well, heck with you, state, we're just going to transfer them back. We got good relatives down here, or sometimes they're relatives in Rapid too, and we'll just, work with and support that family there. But yeah, so I think for today, I think what you're ordering, Norman, we're already doing. And I do have some updates for you, Ms. Spotted there, on the last task you assigned me. But go ahead, Norman.
Just, and that's really good, everything being done. But somewhere, there's a cog missing in that wheel. Or else these children would not be sitting in ICWA.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is, you're doing your job, but somewhere down the road, someone isn't doing theirs. And who that person is, and I guess I'm speaking too broad. I'm asking for a miracle to happen. Maybe it's alcohol, drug abuse, it's something. Why these children are being taken. But how are we going to address it? How are we going to be able to find who is responsible for that cog being missing? Unless we get all our programs together and find out where someone is slowing down. And I guess I'm really sad to hear that we have so many lost children, because eventually the 38 children that are missing is going to be 38 people sitting behind the walls. So I don't know, maybe I'm asking too much of you, but I'm not asking it. Maybe I shouldn't even make it a motion. Maybe you should just make phone calls and like, hey honey, ask your neighbor for help. What can you do for us? And that's probably better way of approaching it than to be ordering people to do things.
And I think it's we should have a sit down with the resources that we have up there and look at how to support our families, so that, because a lot of these issues are poverty. You have 4 or 5 families. There was a case the other day where there was a grandma, an uncle, an auntie, a mom, anyway, like 5 adults and 4 children, and those blood alcohol, they were all in the mom's apartment, and 2 of the 5 adults there, their BAC was 0.4 or above. And the other ones were like, at the lowest ones were double the legal limit, 0.2, whatever. So those are really, that is a big task. But like you said, how do we protect those kids? We need to do relative searches. That's what Norma's hired to do. Is there some healthy relatives that can take care of them? We need to certify Indian foster homes so they can go into Indian foster homes instead of non-Indian foster homes. We have a lot of work to do. And then also a couple weeks ago, Councilwoman Spotted Bear really opened my eyes to, because I've seen it, but I mean, and I know like Mr. Eric Bringswike's work and stuff is all our kids that are in the DOC system. Okay, so ICWA is for children in state custody. Okay, our kids are going into Department of Correction custody. The tribe isn't being notified. A lot of them are just growing up in that system, and they're sending them to Texas, Florida, Arkansas, all these facilities all over the United States. South Dakota don't have a place to house them. They have one juvenile facility, and they save it for federal inmates, because they get paid, federal juveniles. That's where federal juveniles go. So there's a lot of issues, you know, and but I don't think asking to sit down with the programs that are there, Norman, and you know, leaders in that Indian community in Rapid City is a big ask at all for this body. And I'd be happy to continue to work with Ms. Spotted Bear and pursue that further. Because I did contact Mr. Ashley. I did ask him, and he hasn't got back to me. And I did contact Eric Greenswhite for a few times because it was brought to our attention. He's already doing that footwork. Let's get together with him and join forces on that. So I don't think asking to bring people together to identify issues and solution is a big ask at all. Thank you.
Chair, I still wasn't done with my stuff, so.
Sorry.
On our end here, Susan, we have the chief of staff and you, and I know you guys communicate, but you also started back up the meetings that we used to, remember the MDT meetings we used to have all the time, Sonia? We call them MDT, but I can't remember what it standard for. Multidisciplinary Task Force, and that included the U.S. Attorney's Office and all of our tribal programs. And so I know that you guys started to do that again, where you met out there, and so I think that's a good idea, because that's a resource for you as well.
Okay, so according to the code and federal law sheets, there's 3 different entities to meet. Okay, so the MDT is actually statutorily mandated for the U.S. Attorney's Office to come down and meet with the tribe on SA cases. So those are held at the U.S. Attorney's Office discretion. It's at Megan Poppin, and we usually meet at least once a month, and we follow up on like SA prosecutions, okay, and then the CIs and CPS and different ones going, we identify what cases are being prosecuted. Maybe we need to prosecute a PERP locally, because child on child is tribal, you know, if we get those kind of cases. Then we have the CPT and the multidisciplinary team meeting, which you guys took from CPS and gave to Arlana. And there's some issues with that, but we'll talk about that later. So CPT, according to the code, is where that's the organization, that's the venue where you have, like, you can take cases and stack them with all the resources, and then it's kind of like that wraparound approach. Okay, so John Doe was hurt. Okay, Betuluta can do eval for mom and dad. Behavioral health can do some services for.
It keeps the communication going.
Keeps the cases wraparound. Yeah. And then the multidisciplinary, that's where you call in everybody.
Law enforcement.
That's local law enforcement. MDT is federal for SA,
right.
And then the multidisciplinary. It's right in the code that they meet the last Thursday of every month, and so we did this last week. We did training on trauma by a forensic interviewer. And then I want to do some code training, but that's on Thanksgiving, so it'll probably be in December.
So my purpose of bringing that up is to Norman that we do have programs at our meeting that the chief of staff and yourself have kind of pushed that a little bit to bring these other entities together to help, because you know you can't do it all by yourself. Right. The bad part about Rapid City for us is that, you know, a lot of times we don't have jurisdiction up there, and a lot of them community members have developed resources amongst themselves to try to help within up there, which, you know, oftentimes they might not be cool with me just coming up there and saying, you guys need to do this and do that. Yeah. You know, they have their own ways of doing it. But where we come in is where all else has failed, and we need to bring these kids back into our jurisdiction and bring them home. And we can't even really have a say-so if a state judge convicts a juvenile and sends them to Texas, because again, you can't let somebody out of jail. You know, if that juvenile committed an assault or battery or was selling drugs,
yeah,
and he's sentenced to time, I mean, wherever they have. When we contract people, I mean, we used to do contracts for Rosebud and different tribes. I was their prisoner, you know. So it just depends on where they have the ability to send them. That one's a little bit tougher. I don't know how we're going to tell a judge that got sentenced to juvenile to something, you know.
But that was just an example of all these issues that are affecting our kids.
So my thing would be is to support what you and
Mr. Sword?
Mr. Sword are already doing, and that's to meet with our legal, come back in a week, and if we need to assign an attorney at that point, if you would identify who that is that you would want to work with or assign, to come back. That would be my motion, is to support what you guys are already doing, come back in a week.
Yeah, I'll second that, but I have a question.
We got Julianne next.
Okay.
I just wanted to.
If Rich is done.
Okay.
I just wanted to add that my colleague asked, what are we missing to make these programs work? And he also spoke about Bowicha Tanka, or fortitude. And when we talk about the root of it, my other colleague spoke about, talking about the truth of all of this. It's, our parents need to take responsibility and accountability, because now it's on us to make sure that we protect our Wakaija. And the whole reason for it is to prevent the recidivism that's happening with our people. Because as we speak, prisons are being built, and who do you think are going to build those prisons? And that was the whole reason why I spoke with Susan regarding our children that are not in the welfare system as well, and not being identified. And, I understand that if a judge chooses to move them out of state, but imagine if we had a health center or a behavioral health center or a facility, and I don't like to say a prison or something like that incarcerates our people, but something that transitions our people into a better way of life. Something like that established here, then we can transfer our people here, especially our youth. And I know at the beginning of this term, Ichaga wanted to get into the medical field and push for a behavioral health center. And and I plan on bringing that up at ED&D and following up on that as to where they're at with that process, because that was a big move. And I appreciate the update on that, Susan, in regards to our youth out there, because there should be a push to bring those children home as well, and identify who they are, so that we know that they're not alone, and that we do have our eyes on them as well. So I appreciate that, and we do have a lot of work on our hands, so thank you.
Go ahead, Sonia.
Just one last comment, I'm just thinking through this, is we hired an attorney, ICWA attorney, to fight for our Lakota children, whether it be in Rapid City, our Fall River, or wherever, and to bring them back under ICWA law. That's ICWA law. But this morning he's telling us of the roadblocks he's running into. So what's the use? He's standing over there in court trying to transfer these cases back, but we have a judge, a state judge, that's not recognizing our law. Is not recognizing the ordinance we just passed that Charlie Abres put in place, standing order, that never allowed none of the cases to come back to our tribal court under ICWA law. We amended that ordinance just recently, a couple months ago. And that's what they're using, and they gave it to the state judge. I'm sure they gave it to the other judges. But what is she saying? She's questioning our law. And she's saying, could they do that? Isn't this separation of powers? Does that state judge realize that we're legislators and we are the Law and Order Committee? We make the law. It goes to our tribal council and we approve that law. Whether they look at it whichever way, we're a sovereign nation. And we make the law. And we need to stand strong on this ICWA law. Not going around and talking around it. The bottom line is, he's coming to us today, and I'm reading what he's saying. And what Susan is saying, they're questioning our law, questioning what we said. So we know that there's things that need to get fixed within ICWA and CPS, and that's what she's doing. She's trying to bring more positions, wants us to support that, which I think we need to. Because for too long, we've been hearing about these things going on within CPS and ICWA. But, you know, you're trying to improve on that. But the bottom thing is, we have an attorney fighting for these children, our children, and they're, what is he doing? He can't even get them transferred because she's holding on to those transfers. She's not willing to transfer them back. So how long is that going to be? You know, I think that's probably where, Richard, your motion that you made, I think we should, you know, when they can bring us back a report to see if any transfers take place. If there is in 2 weeks, no transfers taking place, and she's still standing on that decision of hers, I think we need to take action to have our attorneys step in now, you know, and assign someone to start working on this and helping them work on this. Because right now, they're going against our ICWA because they're not allowing them to transfer these cases back to our tribal court. That's where they should come back. And what Susan is saying is right. There's a process. Once they come back, they have a process and a plan to, you know, reunify those children with their families. That usually happens. And in that code that we passed, how many years ago, is that parental rights will never be terminated of these children. So they will work with those children. Whether their parents are good or bad, there is some parents trying to do good. There is some that are trying to make their lives better to get their children back. So we have to believe in that. So today I'm just going to say that with your motion, I second it. I think we should bring them back in about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
See if they transfer any of those cases back in 2 weeks. And if she's still standing on this, then I think we need to assign one of our attorneys to work with them to.
Yeah, Susan, let us know what attorney's interested, or I think Steve Gunn is a good one too, but it's up to whoever you guys decide would want it.
We can work with you
Anything
guys.
else, Jim, that you feel would be helpful in this fight?
Yeah.
The only thing that
Push that button.
you know, and I appreciate your comments. The tribe is a sovereign nation.
Yep.
And under ICWA, as a sovereign nation, you can contract with the state of South Dakota. So ICWA allows you to contract. I know Vice President Mousseau had talked with the state about these ICWA issues of bringing kids back. And that was, I think, in 2003. I wasn't a part of that.
Yeah.
But my understanding is the state kind of broke off the discussions. And as a sovereign nation, one of the things that you might want to look at is re-engaging with the state and forcing them to change some of the policies and force that judge to do what she needs to do. And so you have the power as a sovereign nation to engage in those contracts, and that might be something else you might want to look at doing.
We need to do that. Just want to say real quickly that, and I keep bringing it up, during President Kubo's term, she did do that a lot. She met with the state, the DSS, and we did bring them to the tables to address these issues. So I think it can be done.
So we got Davey, and then we'll run the motion.
I'm not gonna make it on repeat, but when the who's there witnessed it, was it Susan or Mr. Sword, when they stated that, could the tribe handle it? To me, it's a prejudicial statement questioning. Is that part of, is that recorded, or is there witness, I mean, who was all in the room that heard say that? Yeah, was it in session, or what, I mean, or was it behind closed doors, or?
So it was in a confidential hearing, and what I have done is, those are the comments from the judge. And so since it's a confidential hearing, I have blacked out all the names who was involved in that hearing. So the only thing that you see, when you see a blackout, it's a person's name. And so we've asked for a transcript of it. And so I have a copy of the transcript, and I would gladly share the blacked out copy of the transcript where the judge specifically questions your authority. They question whether or not the the tribal council had the authority under your constitution to do what it did, whether or not this tribal council had the authority to pass the ordinance, whether the tribal council had the authority to set procedures for the tribal court to follow. And so one of the things I can do is I will get that to Susan, and I apologize, I don't know how to distribute anything, but I'll let Susan distribute it to you so you can read the words yourself as they were spoken.
The reason I'm asking is that I just think that we need to, after we get all this, and when you guys come back in a couple weeks, just pursue the matter to remove the judge from any of the cases. Because if that's her prejudicial, to me it's prejudicial.
Yeah.
And it should be removed from all the cases, but we need to, go ahead, finish.
No, I said something, so I don't know.
Because when you bring it back in 2 weeks, we want to see that, because we're going to have to take legal steps to remove that judge. You know, and I don't know where we'll go from there, maybe you can go after, so they're disbarred or something. But, I mean, it's unfortunate that things like that happen, but I just wanted to turn my mind on that. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor with a second. Go ahead and run that motion.
Just a question real quick. We had a district member back there raising her hand, and I don't know if anyone's seen her.
Yeah, she can speak after we run this motion.
Okay, all right.
This is over. You ready?
No, mine.
Mine and Sonia seconded.
So you withdrew yours, Norman?
Yeah, mine.
Okay,
Okay.
so what was your,
Okay, she,
Motion is to support Susan and Mr. Sword's discussion already where they're gonna be meeting with our legal office over this issue. In 2 weeks, they'll come back and let us know if we need to assign an attorney. If they decide that attorneys need it, we'll assign one at that point. But they're already started the discussion, that needs to continue
On the transfer.
on the transfer.
to support
Transfers,
Yeah, transfer.
being held up by the judge in state court.
motion to support Susan.
Come back in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, come back in 2 weeks.
And work with the legal department.
Yeah. To continue working with the legal department because they already reached out.
Good morning, Kyle. So
Be on the
I am looking
19th.
for, I was wondering if you guys still
19th.
Yeah, November 19th,
have
I'll come back.
applications for the annual discount program.
To continue.
This will help support you, Susan, in case somebody says, who said you can go to there?
Yeah.
Because that happens sometimes too. We're giving you authority to go there.
So back in 2 weeks on actions to take if needed, we'll
Yes.
assign an attorney.
Yep.
Yeah. Because you have a briefing schedule, right? You submitted briefs, or is that?
Correct.
So he's already got something in motion with Jim?
So if we come back on the 19th, I should
Turn
have,
back on again. Turn it on.
so if we come back on the 19th, I should have more answers, because I think there's one hearing for a group of cases on the 12th, and then there's a group of cases on the 14th, so we should have some answers for you.
and then when you do come back, can you, with your legal team, find out if we need actions or that, to that nature?
Yep.
On the legal side of it, kind of like what Davey said?
If they're not transferring to that.
All right.
Okay, run that vote.
Craig's hand is raised.
Oh, sorry, Craig.
You know, with what this judge said, and I'm glad I finally heard it, but that shows she's got biases.
Yeah.
And that she thinks where she's at, they're above us. And I think we need to, I think there's someplace you can file a complaint against a judge in the state. And I think we need to file a prejudicial comments that she made against the tribe, and we should inform them by, have one of our lawyers do it, that we are a sovereign nation, we are governed by the council, and that we have the powers to protect and look out for our children. The federal government has said we do, and the placement, care, and supervision of them, and that every other judge that we've worked with has showed that they're willing to work with the tribe. and that we need to really stand on that because we can get her removed off these cases. Because, you know, when you say something like that, I don't care if it's open, closed, or whatever kind of session, you are voicing your concerns of bias. And that's what they say is clear, it's a clear case of it. And I think we need to, if we have to, we go to when we're in council, we make a motion to send all of our legal standings, what we base all of our decisions on, that's the treaty, when the government was formed here in 1936, 34, whatever it is, that gives us the power to act.
And our constitution.
Our constitution, and send it to the chief judge. There is a chief judge of this circuit up there. So he can share, or she can share that with these judges that come into this ICWA position. And that we're gonna stand by that because our children are important. That's the most important asset we have. And a lot of times, the parents fail them, but we as a tribe will not. And so that's my concerns, and I think we need to note that so we can use that down the road.
So do you want that as one of the agenda items on the next,
Well, when they come back, yeah.
when they come back?
Yeah.
And then we also need to remember, we took an oath of office, and in there, we cited our oath that we were going to protect the general health and welfare of our Oyate. So we took that oath.
Let's run it, I gotta go potty.
Johnny Randall,
Yeah.
Bolo Whiteman,
Yes.
David Queer,
Yeah.
Richard Greenwood,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Cameron Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Blaine Littlefinger, Julianne Spudler, yes,
If they're going together.
9 yes.
9 yes, motion carried.
They're going together.
Can you come to the mic here, state your name for the record? How it turns red?
Is it on? Yeah.
Well, good morning, my name is Carol O'Rourke. I'm going to greet you, all my relatives. I just had to say something in regards to our children. You know, it's kind of a sad time for me at this time. I'm kind of, you know, my older sister passed away and stuff, but the children, I wanted to listen to what CPS had to say about the children, and I liked what I heard, and I think the bottom line is when Mr. Dillon, Councilman Dillon, kind of wrapped it up, you know, summarized it, and I thought that was some good words, you know, you guys all had good input and everything, and I really think that, I used to be a former, I wore kind of all the hats about CPS during the COVID time and stuff, but I started out as a case manager, and then the reason why I'm here for the concern is that whoever a case manager is assigned to that family, they're supposed to follow that family clear up to their court hearing until it's dismissed, reunified, or you know, there's more stipulations. So I don't know how Susan has it organized, you know, stuff. I don't know how you have it organized, and if there's case managers, how much cases are there, and you know, is it a efficient caseload for each case manager? The family locator, I don't know if they still have that position or whatever it's called now. The family locator is really an important position because they go and they do the home study, and they have to continue the home studies for these families for the betterment of our children. And so then if they're placed in kinship positions, then also services need to be offered to whoever the kinship placement relative is. One of the things that I used to do was I got certified to do the positive Indian parenting training. And each time I had a session, it was 10 to 12 parents at a time, both parents. We'd go, I also put the hat on as a case manager and bring back their court papers, what their stipulations were. And so then if one of them was to attend the parenting, you know, to complete it, then that was one of the stipulations taken off of, from the court. then they follow up, the case managers follows with that family. And like I said, until it's either dismissed or carried on or more stipulations and stuff. One of the other things too, some people don't really understand the difference between CPS and ICWA, you know, the Indian Child Welfare, and CPS, Child Protection Services. But when a child is off reservation and is an enrolled member, then that's where ICWA steps in. And we used to even have an office up in Rapid City, and I don't know what, you know, I don't know why we don't have it up there no more. But there were a couple staff members and like a coordinator or something that was up there. And they would attend to that court hearing up there. And that case manager up there would stay with that family. They would meet with the attorney up there. What was his name? Hannah. Yeah. He was the attorney up there, so he would do like a summary with the case manager, and then they would go to court. And then that's where we had, the tribe had the power to represent that child. And you know, with Sovereign Nation, we always stood on the ICWA law. A lot of times, you guys, the CPS staff back then, we used to take the ICWA law and our tribal constitution and show it to that judge or the attorney that we worked with, so that they would understand where we're coming from. So a lot of times, our cases were heard, and our children were brought home, they were reunified, and then that case manager does the follow-up, make sure they're still, you know, providing a healthy home, a healthy environment. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to say that for the children, because we have a lot of children. I don't even know if we had one clear over in Guatemala at one time. So at that time, Lima, what was Lima's Richards? She was the only one that was on staff that had a passport to go to Guatemala to represent her child over there. And when we couldn't make that hearing, it was always on conference, and the judge would hear our recommendations and stuff. And it was a good relationship that we had with the judges, but it depends on that case manager, or is that what you call them? Anyway, I don't know if you call them case managers or whatever anymore, but that case manager had to stay on top of that until it's completed, reunified, or whatever. We used to do the background checks up there at CPS. I don't know if they still do that, you know, and it was a faster process than to wait for the tribe down here. I mean, you know, how they do the background checks. But anyway, that's just kind of my 2 cents, and I wanted to throw that in there. But I really think, you know, it begins in the home. We all know that it begins in the home, and whatever the upbringing, you know, that's how that child, the Wahaijan, learns. They learn from our behavior, you know, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but that's what they learn. And, you know, just coming down here this morning, there was an accident right up there by the Head Start. A car ran into somebody trying to cross the road up there. I don't know, and then another reason why I was here was because I guess a law and order is going to meet on the shooting that went on last night in Pine Ridge again, you know. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to talk about, you know, ICWA and CPS when I used to be there, and how the organization, you know, that I experienced. It was a good time up there, but that was a lot of times during COVID, we really had a lot of issues. We had a family that one of the case managers had to stay, keep the young boy, he's 12 years old, and to keep him at the CPS office for 7 days because we couldn't travel. So anyway, I mean that's how it works. That case manager has to stay with that family until whatever the outcome. And you know, our children don't have a voice, especially when they're babies. So we're the voice. We're the voice for them, and we just got to remember. Sometimes we experience things that family experiences, so we know what they're talking about. We know what they're going through and stuff. So we try to do the best we can for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you for those words. So, lunch isn't here yet. You guys want to keep going?
Yeah.
Because we got nothing but approval of job descriptions next. And I'm pretty sure we can get through all three of them before lunch. So, go ahead, Julia, then B.
Is the chief of staff going to be here and also give us an update on the emergency youth shelter?
Yeah. Chief of staff?
I don't think we summoned him. Do you want him here?
I think it would be good if they're wanting us to approve a job description.
Yeah, 'cause I have questions. We should have added him on our victim services program. We need to ask him some questions.
I got a question. If we could get the chief of staff here, do you think we could address my issue as well? It's just juvenile court out in Kyle.
Oh, yeah, okay, if we have some questions on the victim services, get calls on that.
I think, can we move on to Bobby though? Because they're here though, right? And IG,
She stepped in here once.
Yeah, what was hers on?
job description. And IG has their ordinance here as well.
I have an issue or a question.
Can you come down to have some questions about the youth shelters job description? Okay, thank you. John was upstairs and he's on his way down. So we'll stay on emergency youth shelter job description. Okay, so the job description for the director of the emergency youth shelter, John's here to answer any questions.
Do you have the job description?
It's in the packet. The job description for the emergency youth shelter is in the packet. Julianne, do you have questions for John?
Are you doing the youth shelter?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I guess I just have a question regarding our youth shelter. Is there any update to it? From the last time we spoke with what has been going on there and the safety of our youth that are in there?
So currently we have 2 residents in the youth shelter. The director's last day is Friday. That's why I'm submitting the job description so we can get it filled right away. And we're addressing a fence, gate, so it'll be a locked facility after hours where people can't come and go. Because what's happening is we're having some of the kids now breaking out windows to get out. So, but we did fill another security guard position for nighttime. That person starts on Monday. So we'll have a nighttime security officer on the site, and we won't have to rely on the workers to provide security. Just we'll actually have a security officer on site starting Monday.
Do you have anyone in the interim until you have someone hired into that position?
I'm looking at the current staff that's in there now, and HR is providing me a applicant list of potential folks that are put in temporarily. But I haven't done that yet today. I'm still finishing director evaluation, so, but that's my next job.
Thank you, Chairman.
Question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just looking at the job description, but the current salary was at a 38,000? 42. But then it's moving up to 42.
In meeting with HR, we're trying to get them all on that entry level at 42. I believe the current director was above that.
Yeah,
So we're actually going back down to start at this entry level at 42.
yeah, I was just gonna question that, because I know every director that comes on, I think she starts at that 42. So you did put it up there
Yeah.
to the 42, but I'll make a motion to approve the job description and so that we can advertise it.
Second.
Motion by Sonia, second by Julian. Go ahead, David.
I guess my question is that salary, every time, because we've got 3 job descriptions coming, and they're all entry level, and they're all different.
Yeah.
And so, in the past, they started everybody the same, and I don't know if we adopted a different wage scale, but how can 2 people decide what's gonna be the starting wage? You know, we need to be fair across the board on some of these things.
Is that the T-Ball here one?
Yeah, I mean, they're all different.
Starting.
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Do you remember in finance, there was a motion made to pay those grant, Tiwahe, Suicide, McVie? There was a motion made for them to be able to pay them at the rate that they negotiated with the funding agency at. So that's why that's different than our normal program.
Okay, so the ordinance says on the wage scale is different than what's coming in.
It's
That's what I'm saying, violating the ordinance.
We should change the ordinance.
Yep, you need to change the
Correct
ordinance.
that. It's the ordinance.
I thought we was gonna do that this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend, we have to.
Now we're
So
starting.
we got beef and then Julian.
Yeah, it's grade level, that's why they're different.
Yeah.
And the program specific, so that's, takes care of that. In spite of the ordinance.
I was gonna move the
It
ordinance.
still has to be at that salary, but
Supposed
we're
to
gonna
amend
say,
the ordinance.
yeah.
Julian.
Change that ordinance.
Thank you. So I just want to, I think everybody kind of hit on it also. If you look at the qualifications, you're going to see the pay. Their starting is 42. It's still kind of low for a bachelor's requirement. We have to change that in the financial management so that we can raise that for our folks who are going to school and getting their educational requirements. Because my colleague also talked about the paper ceiling, because there's a skill requirement or skill experience that equates to educational requirements as well. So that 42 is right, and we are going to make those amendments in our financial management. We talked about that several times, about updating that to align with either state, federal guidelines, or, putting more funding to our folks who are going out there and getting their education and coming back so that we can update our pay scale, because it is very outdated.
Yep.
No more questions, comments, run the vote.
Steve Brandon,
Yeah.
Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
David Queer,
No.
How you doing?
Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yeah.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hop Weston, Blake Little Thunder,
Yes.
Julianne Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Eight yes, 1 no, 1 not voting, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
But we need to just stick around because we have some questions.
Can you stick around in the building?
Yeah, questions.
Yeah, there's some other stuff that is coming up later.
If you can text me, I'm trying to get all these evaluations done as directors.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah,
can you-
I'll put.
Did you have that?
Well, just,
Yeah, let me go.
Oh, go ahead.
just real quick. Okay, so we've been having an issue with juvenile court out in Kyle.
Correct.
Same issue. A lot of people can't come to Pine Ridge for juvenile courts. So I was wondering if we can get the juvenile judge out to Kyle once a week, twice a week or something.
I'll address it right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, with that, lunch is outside, you're ordering.
I have one question for him.
Go ahead.
On the, do we have something going on with the victim services? What's going on over there? Maybe you can't tell us, but I've been getting calls, I think, is there rifts going on over there?
We're in the process now of updating the job descriptions for all of the employees. She's been addressing a lot of issues over there. Some of the stuff like I'm hearing are employees were sitting around meeting. They were sitting around cooking breakfast for each other for the first 2 or 3 hours a day. So she is addressing a lot of issues over there, and she keeps me briefed every day. They're not firing anyone like that, but she did tell them that we're gonna have to update these job descriptions because they're just kind of doing whatever they want. So now she's got them on an on-call schedule to meet with our victims, and it's just a lot of pushback by employees, and that's gonna come with change. But I totally support her with what she's doing, and she's doing the right thing. It's just some employees aren't happy because now they're being held to a standard that they weren't before.
Yeah, and I do agree with that because we've got the chief of police on the agenda because I'm going to kind of question him on some things today, on some calls that we received last week that had to do with domestic violence issues, and it has to come back to the victim services too. So that's why I said if you could stick around and, you talk to him, I'd like you to be a part of it.
If you want to if I can have a couple minutes, I'll give you guys a brief. So last month, I've been having meetings with all of our program directors, law enforcement, CPS, and courts, corrections. And it's regarding CPS and the lack of referrals that are being put out to the agencies. I got calls from the FBI and different agencies. So what we started addressing and we ended up finding was that there was never a referral form from CPS. I don't know where it disappeared because prior to me retiring in 17, there was a referral process. I would meet with the FBI, we would go over every referral, everything that was 16 and above. My BIA program would investigate everything below the FBI would do. And at some point between 17 and now, everything went up in the air. So now we created a new form. I met with them this morning, as a matter of fact, all of our agencies. We're going to meet again on the 19th. You're welcome to come out at the Justice Center, but we're going to put a process in place now because we've got a lot of these cases, as I'm told, and I met with the director yesterday during her evaluation, cases that are falling through the cracks. Reported on June 10th, wasn't assigned until October 1st. That's unacceptable. That's months of no activity. We don't know the status of our kids and what the investigation is. So those are the things that we're addressing right now, and we're going to fix this so our kids aren't falling through the crack. Thank you.
Go ahead, Rich.
Just real quick, and I meant to put it on the agenda this morning, but I didn't. It's something that you could probably start the conversation on in those meetings is our, when we do, like we did this month with all of our banishments, we need to start that process there and some training with our court staff, our law enforcement, and our dispatch. Kind of like treating it like we do with our 1029s or warrants. I talked to the chief this morning. He said that it'd be pretty easy to put it into the system and training them on what do you do if you find somebody that has been banished and you catch them on the reservation. What is the process? What is the process for the courts, the judge, all the way, because there's rules like 1 year in jail. I think it leaves no room for a discussion for a judge. It says you will do a year in jail, then released back to the border and told you can't be here again. And there's processes for people that harbor. So that training needs to be set up and that mechanism needs to be put. We talked about who enforces it. Davey brings this up every time. This is one of his pet peeves is that we have an individual we know of that has been banished years ago, but we all know he still lives here. His wife is a superintendent at one of our schools, so we know he's still here and he knows, we know that, but how do we make sure those are being enforced then? So if you could start on that in one of these meetings and then get back to us maybe in a couple weeks on your progress of that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So we'll do the Tuwahe Initiative Program Deputy Director real quick because Cindy's been sitting here all morning. So if you guys have any questions on this one.
Motion.
I don't have a copy.
And she started it at 40.
This one starts at 63.
That's what I mean.
So we have a motion by Beef, second by Norman.
Anyway, yeah.
And,
Masters preferred, seniors
Steve Brandel,
Yeah.
Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
Have we been in?
David Poyer. Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier.
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Westby.
I had a quick question.
We're running the vote right now.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to say, not voting, because there is a question on that, whether ABC is true. It's,
Ordinance?
but, if the finance committee took that action, we still have an ordinance that should have been amended. And so we should have done that, if we're gonna do that this weekend.
Still not law.
You're putting these, that's why I was looking at 42. What the chief of staff presented was right, his was 42, starting at that entry level. But they're starting at a 40,
They're at 63.
yeah, they're starting, they didn't put the grade level, it has 0, but they're putting
42.
it.
It's at 42.
Yeah, it's at 42.
Oh, some of them 63 for two.
For the Tiwahe, the one you just running through, the grade level is 42, but the salary is 63,000.
Because that's program specific.
But that's, is that what you got budgeted?
It is program specific, that's the national Tiwahe dollar amount.
Yeah, that's why the ordinance gotta be adjusted to.
Yeah.
Different wording, so well, right now, this is where we're at, we're running a vote on
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so let's continue the vote.
because it's, chief of staff was at 30/0 grade level, that's at the entry level. That's why his is 42,000, the salary as a director. That's why I think Davey was trying to point that out. It is in the ordinance at the salary
Yeah.
scale.
it. And I acknowledge the ordinance, what I'm saying, I'm going by program specific, so that's what they were doing, so.
So what was passed in finance needs to be addressed this weekend again, and has to be brought back as ordinance.
The ordinance has to be addressed, not the program.
But still,
Still we're planning.
yeah, still finding the ordinance.
Well, if she don't start, or he don't start until after we amend the ordinance, we'll be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, maybe we should put that on, pending the amendment of the ordinance.
And that, who made that motion?
Who made that motion? This job description.
Excuse me, council, committee, this is a public office, and so can you all just use your mics and talk so that we get this recorded? Because once again, it might come back down the road, who said what, I said this, they said that, then you'll have it on record. So please use your mic and talk, with the chair calling you, keep some order in this meeting, because right now, everybody's talking at once, they're not using their mics. Open up.
Sorry, Lois. So Beef, motion maker, do you want to continue with this, or
Yeah, because it's a program specific.
use your mic?
Yes, because it's program specific. We can come back and address the ordinance later on, but that has to be changed later. But we're going to two separate things, the ordinance and the program specific.
Continue with the vote.
Wayne Little Thunder,
No.
Julianne Spotted
Yes.
I'll change my vote to no till the ordinance is changed.
Ordinance is changed.
We should have tabled these on the last vote.
Yeah.
5 yes, 3 no, 1 no voting, motion carried. Go ahead, Norman.
Manuel's here, lunch is here.
Lunch is here, but they should have changed that salary to pending negotiable till after this ordinance, because I think this will come back and really bite us.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that this has gone through grants committee and it has gone through HR and our attorneys as well. So there wasn't any issue brought up during that process with the ordinance. I appreciate everybody that voted. And then, but was specifically this salary specific to the program, the National TYA Initiative.
Okay, well, I'm gonna add to what I just said. And if grants, the contracts passed it, HR passed it, they're well aware of what our ordinances are. So they are the ones that are gonna.
They're the ones that find it.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You'd like to say the mill prayer?
I don't believe, I believe the HR is very, very clear on the ordinance. She started her position at a 42 level. I mean, we passed the vote, so I guess I won't even go into the detail with it anymore. At a 42 level, or relatable to a master's, but I'll leave it at that. Do you have a commission? And
Yes.
who are they full?
No, there's one position.
Use your mic.
There's one position open currently. It actually closes today, at the end of business today. If you know of anybody that's interested in being a part of the commission, for taking letters of intent.
So if it closes, do we need a motion to re-advertise or extend that
Commission?
for that position?
We don't know if they got it filled.
Did you receive letters of intent?
I have not at this point.
They went to the vice president's office. We didn't handle it. They did.
So you are streaming, so you can repeat that again for the people listening.
So there is a position for the one commission position, a 1-year commission term. And that was advertised beginning, it was 2 weeks ago. Today is actually 2 weeks. Today's the deadline at the end of the day, today.
So you did not receive letters of intent?
That I don't know, I will have to check.
Well, I was looking at the vice president.
No, I didn't. I'm not the contact.
Oh,
She's the contact.
okay. Oh, you are there.
Yes.
So what is it going to take to extend that to receive letters of intent?
If we don't have any letters of intent today, we'll advertise it.
Okay, so it'll be open until filled?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Question, Chair. So Cindy, which one of your board members resigned or stepped down?
Amy Pond.
So that's the position you're
Yes.
advertising to
Yes.
and getting letters of intent?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Julianne, can you give us the meal prep?
Just the job description.
Struggles with addictions, depression,
Thank you. We'll recess until 12:45.
Yes, again, it's ready.
The meal is ready, so go get in line. It's so late today.
Oh, nice, everybody kind of start speeding up.
That's why I was trying to hurry you guys.
Listen to you. Ed's here, no, go ahead, Ed's here. I heard Chris Oliver was on the radio.
Come for now.
So the next item on the agenda is the Inspector General, and that's in your packet. Yeah, but you do have the revised edition for the resolution, and that's separate outside of your packet.
That's all we're passing today, is that ordinance, right?
Yes.
Motion.
Motion by Norman, second by Beef.
I have a question on it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sonia, use your mic though. Use your mic though. Go ahead, Sonia, use your mic.
I could answer that on council floor, but I think when we talked about this position, we need to decide, you know, when we get this position advertised, as to who is going to interview this position and appoint. Because I really don't know, you gotta have some good people on that HR. Who's gonna be actually to be appointing this Inspector General? So I think it should be, you know, I think we were saying, you know, we can, like we do the prosecutors and the judges, we can just interview them and then put the, you know, whoever we appoint can go to the council, and then it'll go under the Attorney General for the, you know, the hiring, or the, not hiring, but whatever disciplinary, if anything happens like that, the Attorney General will do that. So,
Council, can you have respect for your colleagues there while they're talking? Let them, give them respect. They're talking. I'm sure you would like the same, afforded the same respect too. Just to help them. I mean, just a simple thing there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sergeant.
but that's just my question to put out there, because this is kind of a really a critical position. And I think that we want somebody in there that's, to me, is somebody that's got some integrity, trustworthy, honesty, because look at all the stuff he's gonna have to do, or he or she. And I don't want anybody in there that is not gonna be able to do this. So I think that's why we said we should have interviewed them, whoever, you know, applies for it. We should be able to interview them. I don't know if it needs to be through Law and Order Committee or through the council, but we should do that before we even get somebody in. That's just my question, my comment on it.
So, real quick, Sonia, before I get to Norman, when we were discussing this, it was supposed to be side by side with the Attorney General, because if the Attorney General is doing something bad, they want to be able to, and not be underneath them, you know, to be able to investigate them too.
Okay, side by side.
Go ahead, Norman.
You're looking at a very unique position. One that has to be autonomous from the President's office, Tribal Council, our legal, our law enforcement, our judges, everybody will be open for this guy to look at. And the only people that took an oath and are bound by it is our legal department, our attorneys. They can't be wavered because they follow the law. And if anybody's going to interview, it can't be us, because we're open to scrutiny. I don't see how we could possibly interview an Inspector General. And the only people that probably would be capable of interviewing them is our attorneys. Or we have to go outside the reservation to somewhere else and bring them back in. But we will not be able to do it, no matter what you say, Sonia. You might be investigated by them.
Okay.
And I might be investigated by them.
Yeah.
So how can we put our judgment on them already?
Well, I see your point. So even if we give it to the HR to do it, then I guess I have no problem with it. But so we'll look at the comptroller's position that way too. We need to give it to the HR and let them interview and advertise, select that too.
Maybe I misspoke. we can't give it to HR either because they could be investigated by them.
So we better leave.
The legal department is the only avenue we have left because they're already bound by an oath. And they stand by their oath real strong.
Legal, we can do legal.
It has to be legal. I think they're the only ones capable of doing it.
Take us out of it and they're out of it.
So we got Julianne, Dave, and then Rianne.
Thank you. I remember this conversation being had in finance when we approved this and sent it to full council. And, you know, this is a big move for our tribe. And I have to agree that I would not like to be a part of the hiring process because my colleague is correct. Either one of us can be investigated. We would potentially, and you know, in this job description, the Inspector General is responsible for investigating and preventing potential fraud, waste, or abuse of power within tribal government and its programs, charters, entities to ensure tribal government, its programs, charters, and entities are operating efficiently and effectively and has the authority to have full review, access to any bank account of tribal programs, tribal charter, and tribal entity, hold violators accountable, uncover safety risk, and help provide assurances that tribal members receive the services to which they are entitled without waste to allocated program funding. Position is classified as a merit position and shall be supervised and disciplined by the Attorney General. And, you know, with saying that this, within these 11 months that we've been in these positions, how many times have we talked about fraud, waste, and abuse that was brought forward because a program didn't like a software they were using, so they said, hey, we'll just pay the $40,000 because we don't like this software. Or, well, let's just give this contract because they're going to provide one service a month, so let's approve $180,000, and we questioned it. Or we have all these temp positions out there, or large amounts of spending. All these white-collar crimes that we talk about that we want to get a grasp on. I wouldn't want to be a part of the hiring process on that because a lot of those decision makings come from this circle as well. And so I would agree that it should be our legal office to do the hiring.
What the legal office?
And Rihanna is laughing.
Yeah.
And maybe work in lieu with our HR so that they follow those guidelines in regards to the hiring.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand with that. Because maybe even the legal office may be investigated.
Yeah.
So they'll have some ideas to that as well. But I know the position has already been approved.
Yeah.
We're just passing the ordinance. And I believe that was my second. Thank you.
Go ahead, Davey, and then Ria.
I guess my question is the bank account, you mean the records that are upstairs? Or the bank?
Everywhere.
Well, what I'm saying though, if they're a tribal program, then all the checks are supposed to be ran through here. Because I want to tell something that we need to be in executive session on, but that's my question on it. So, because those records you can get upstairs, whatever, if it's a tribal program. And if we're doing charts, I have no problem with that. But where's the funding coming from?
The general fund or?
I don't know.
Attorney General's office.
Yeah, they don't have any money either.
They have settlement fund.
According to this, it says general fund.
See, the general fund's being tapped out.
Because we have a working session this weekend, so we should see if we have money first, after Cora looks at everything.
It's a start.
It's a start.
When you guys meet Sonia too, I mean, you guys really have to look at what programs are important and, you know, if you have to make cuts or anything down the road, you have to really look at those programs, if they're, what service they're providing and if it's working, you know, otherwise we're just wasting money and it could be reprogrammed into something else, you know.
Right.
And his salary was brought up during the finance meeting when this was approved. You know, same question. Now that question is coming here. You know, where's the funds gonna come from? And everybody agreed that it was gonna come from the general fund.
You signed off on it too.
Yes.
And who signed off?
Yeah.
Cora signed off on it,
Or signed
treasurer.
off on it too.
So,
I mean, I'm not against having it, but this is gonna have to come up during that budget meeting. Because, what was it, last week when, finance, we owe, Hop Strauss a bunch of money that's gonna have to come out of general fund. So, I mean, so we really have to take a look at general fund with it. Because nothing's going into the account. Those people that are paying in their leases right now, all that money's laying over here at BIA because they're not putting anything in those accounts.
I'm still waiting for my lease checks.
Well, yeah, you're not gonna get it. Your Uncle Donald's got a hold on
Jerry's
it.
got a hold
Your
of
Uncle
it.
Donald,
But that's all I wanted to know is,
You should sign off on it.
And see, Katie, with your question, you know, where this is gonna come from in the general fund, ever since I've been on council, we haven't even got a straight answer. We don't know what's coming in, going out, how it's being spent, da-da-da. You know, we get a word report. You know, we don't get the actual statements. We don't get whatever that program is used up there. What is that called?
MIP.
MIP, a printout of that. You know, so it's like we're operating in the blind, but this position here will open that up for us. You know, and I believe it's long overdue and needed. That's why I'm glad Norman brought it up, you know.
so I'm glad that, I know the position's needed, but I'm just questioning the general fund and today's what we have.
Yeah.
So I don't know when the selection made, when anybody's gonna start in it. As of right now, there's nothing in the general fund to start. So it might have to start after the first of the year.
Well, that's what we said.
Yeah.
But
So
question,
we got Rianne next.
okay, I have a question too.
Yep. Let me have Julianne and Sonia.
Okay, so I didn't sit in on the finance committee meeting where they made some changes, and then I worked with Georgette and we finished those changes, and then I was just informed this morning that it was to come from general funds. We put that in the resolution. That's the revision that I just did. It's established as a merit position, so that means it comes under the personnel policy manual. So the hiring process under there is what has to be followed, because that's ordinance. I just want to comment, you know, no matter who you hire, there's always, in any position, there's always a potential that that person is going to do wrong, regardless of what position it is. But you have to go based off their qualifications. You can catch them as, I mean, this is one of your efforts at making a part of the checks and balances on what's going on financially. So it's a good move, but I wouldn't get caught up on, you know, who's selecting. You know, you laid your qualifications out real clearly in the position description, you know, so I think as long as you follow your ordinances, you're gonna be okay. I mean, if the AG is going awry, somebody's gonna catch it. If the OIG goes awry, somebody's gonna catch it. You know, so that's unfortunately, it's at the program level where we're really struggling on monitoring. And there used to be a compliance officer. Unfortunately, I think the person that's going into court now had that position at one time. But I mean, that's something that you want to look at too, is your compliance officer position in contracts. Because had that person been in there too, you have compliance officer in contracts and you have your comptroller. So those are two positions that should be catching stuff. You know, so if they're not doing their job, you got your personnel policies to fall back on, disciplinary actions can be taken. So I feel like just follow what's in place and I think you'll be okay. As far as the funding goes, with the general fund, I think Davey pointed out maybe just, you can pass this. You don't have to advertise or fill it until you have, you have money, so there's nothing saying you have to advertise right away.
Yeah, we should just pending this, our approval of our general fund.
Julianne?
I think, I just want to encourage everyone that these are not on a whim moves. These were long thought out processes. Some of us have been fighting to relieve a lot of open accounts that were created beyond our times. You all know that, I've been going to Washington DC to argue the loans that were created beyond our time, and that, those should be written off. Some loans have matured and are being paid off, as well as funding. We don't have a clear picture, but there are, we all are making this effort to identify where we can do cost savings, and MIP is a huge area. If we utilize the MIP to its full capacity, that's almost a $2 million cost savings for the tribe, and getting out of this archaic paper system that we use within our tribe. So those are some areas that, it's not just something that we thought of, but there's a lot of cost savings that we're working towards, that we're wanting to bring forward to establish. And so there's, funding that can be there, as long as, we keep moving forward with the best interest of our people and ensuring that what we're doing is, there's funding available. The resource office, we made an attempt at that. We identified that there is money to give out. The school closed money, all of that, we created that last year during that budget. That wasn't something that is a hard set, that's what we're supposed to do. That came off of a good idea. So I just want to remind you guys that there's money available.
Go ahead, Sonia.
I think that, I do know that in our prior meetings that I was okay with this position because I think we do need it. I think the only thing I'm questioning is, how we're going to go about getting the right person on board. That's what I'm saying, and now you're bringing out recommendations about utilizing the legal office. When we went with our GM, that's what we did. We just kind of gave it to them and said, bring us 3, the top. It was what, 7 or 8 applicants. And we sent it to them and we said, do their, the due diligence and whatever, and give us the top 3. But they sent us 4 of them. So we still interviewed them and we picked the right person. And so, even going that route, I don't mind that, but I just want to make sure that we have the funds available. And now that we know that it's coming from the general fund, I think that even if it's passed, we should put in the motion pending our general fund budget this weekend, this working session. We got to find out, once we go through everything, if we do have the money to pay somebody $120,000 a year, we still have to look at that. Plus, we still have the comptroller, and we're going to be discussing not only the comptroller, but also we're saying we want a what? Yeah, CPA. So see, we got to look at all of those positions. So we should, if we're just going to pass the job description, I think it should just read pending our general fund working session, because we have to make sure we have funds available. That's just kind of where I'm coming from. And if we could just utilize our legal office to do that part of the due diligence and all of that, and giving us whatever
Is that your motion?
Well, there's a motion already made. Did somebody make a motion to approve this job description?
Oh, yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, so could you say that, Norman?
One question on that, on the ordinance. We're gonna fall into problems in the future designating this a merit position because we're gonna have say-so over it when one of us gets investigated.
Yeah.
And we're gonna fire that inspector general before he, even a director, anybody he's investigating, we'll fire him before he completes his job.
Yeah.
And nobody here can say, no, we won't, because history has proven itself time and time again.
Just forget about it, let it go.
I mean, it was a good try. It was a good try.
Try with this one.
We can't do it. We'll stay the same way we are till we're all long gone, because we don't want to change. We do not want to change. We enjoy doing this. We like the control factor.
And lose money.
We like the money that we send out to different programs that fail themselves. So, I just, it's, even legal does not want an inspector general because it'll affect their world also. I mean, we make a big stink about it. Yeah, we need them. We're gonna improve our tribe. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. But do we really want to? Do we really want to? Now, if we remove that merit, make this person autonomous, but we have say-so in how we're gonna do that. No, that's not right. We can't do that. No way. We have to be the final say-so in this again. So, it was a good idea at the beginning, but probably not in my term.
Sorry, Rich, they kind of jumped over you, but go ahead.
That's a good discussion. And rightfully so. I mean, we heard from our past comptroller that things have been done in different ways. Yeah. Was there political pressure? Yes. There was people pressuring them to cut corners to go and just get this going and get it started. And so what Norman's saying is true. I mean, we should have been better off policing ourselves at that time when somebody was trying to cut corners to make sure that they could get their stuff rolling fast. It possibly caused, things to happen that cost us money down the road if we cut the corners. But we have to police ourselves. We have to tell each other no when we need to be told no. I guarantee you people will have problems telling me no, and that won't be the first time I've been told no, You need to move on. But it's what keeps us out of trouble. I think where our best thing is to create policy, like the policy they started with Taro, that they don't accept checks no more. They all go into direct deposit and then just track out. Those are policies that will help strengthen us better. So, I mean, the last thing I wanted to talk about is I was kind of fired up for this meeting until I found out where it was at. I know some people like the casino, but man, I'm kind of scared of that building. It's falling apart. I mean, Lyle talked about this void that's in the ground underneath. Flashed a light in there. I said, how deep did it go? Shit, I don't know. My flashlight couldn't even see the bottom. I was like, what the hell? I'm scared to be, I'm going to fall through the pit. Things are cave in on us. What the hell? So if it was somewhere else, I'd have went, but I got to stay away from that place. It's too dangerous.
Go ahead, Ria.
Listening to what Norman was saying, you're giving up because you feel like, it doesn't matter if it's a merit employee, you guys can still you guys have tremendous power as tribal council. So it doesn't matter where this person is set, you can always remove that person no matter what. Whether it's a political appointment, whether it's a merit employee, you guys have done that historically. I think one of the important things that has not been done is to get that ethics code fixed and passed, because that is going to be, and again, even like that, you guys have tremendous power. No matter what you guys pass, you can always rescind it, which you guys do at your convenience. So it really comes down to you personally as a council person representing your district and your people. How ethical are you going to be? And who are you going to hold accountable? And another thing, and I'm sorry, but I'm kind of talking as a tribal member too. Because another thing that happens is we pass laws and they're fine and dandy until it affects you as a council person personally. As soon as it hits one of your primary constituents or your family member or whatever, all of a sudden we start backtracking. That's historical, that's on the record. You know, so it really comes down to you guys, how you want to function. If you're gonna do it ethically and you wanna hold people accountable, pass an ethics code and pass some laws that prohibit you from interfering in personnel matters. You know, those are some ideas to run with if you wish. So,
Julianne, then Craig.
I really want to thank you, Rayanne, for saying that. I said it time and time again that it is not our position to manage personnel, but to write the policy to make it better for our personnel. And so thank you for saying that. And if my colleague is going to retract his motion, I'd like to motion to approve and move it forward, the ordinance, pending funding available.
Yeah, pending when we get.
Motion by Julianne, second by Norman. On to council.
No, that's how we meet on our general fund budget.
Tomorrow, next day,
This weekend.
this weekend.
We gotta make sure you have money.
In the dungeon.
In the dungeon.
In the dark place.
Take a flashlight with you,
Well, I think it's still his motion.
fanny pack with some food in
Chair.
it.
I thought he gave up.
No, I motioned and she gave second.
That was my
That was
second.
just a sob and a plea. Soften your heart.
I should have made that motion then, huh?
Same motion, but different motion maker.
Go ahead, Craig.
Some survival gear in case of that.
I think Rand hit a few good points, but again, we have to act on personnel issues. You know, we've had to do that time and time again. We don't want to do it, but we end up doing it. Because our directors that are working, the majority of them are more political than the council people on this council. They know how to manipulate, they know how to use people, they know how to make those calls when they need to make them, they know how to push the buttons of council people. And so we're always pulled into this damn game. And I look at it like this, you know, this council is all powerful and all everything, but a lot of times we overstep it. And what we need to look at is this Attorney General or this Inspector General is something that this tribe's needed for the last 40 years. And we bypassed it. We didn't use it because we're scared of what it's going to do. Bullshit, let's get it in place and let's move with it. Let's hold people accountable. That's our biggest problem is we don't hold people accountable. We make excuses. Today I was sitting here listening to that guy talk about ICWA and the children that are being lost and stuff. And I was like, Rich, I was pissed sitting here because those little guys, they don't ask for the stuff that happens to them. They're not the ones that are out there drinking, partying, doing meth, raising hell at grandma's house, fighting. It's the parents that do that. And yet we bend over backwards kissing their asses when they come before us because they can cry up there. But you know what? I took kids when I was a social worker and put them in a strange environment, and that's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Because those little tears are real. They ain't the crocodile tears we see here when they come before us. You know, all they're doing is looking for sympathy so they can get their kids back without having to jump through the hoops. But again, we need to get this person hired, we need to get it going, and I think there's money out there at that courthouse. You know, they said there's the refunds money was supposed to come back, it's still there, it hasn't been identified. Why can't we use some of those dollars to get the thing off the ground? You know, we were looking for excuses not to do this. Let's run the damn motion and get it passed. Thank you.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, there's 10 of us here that at one time thought this was a good idea, and some still say it's a good idea, but when I read that merit system and looked at what I seen in the past, it's only been here for almost a year, and we're gonna screw everything up. There's only 10 of us here that want to do something, and so I'm for more what the lawyer had said. Make some paperwork that says you are gonna clean yourself up, and go from there, but you got a motion and process trying to go here, so which I don't believe it's gonna happen, so. Run your motion.
Go ahead, Dave.
And Chair, this is for Brian. Can we name who we want to sit on that panel? Or not really name, but position? Because I know it's merit, but the way it works up there when they select, they just pick people from different programs. And we got people that are CHRs and stuff, hiring road construction people. The policy is supposed to be a related field, but see, that's not what's happening. So we need somebody that knows something about what's in this job description to do the interview, because that ain't what's happening up there at present. And some of them people come back and say, I didn't get the position, but they got somebody that never worked that area before. That's what I'm wondering, is there something that we can name that we want? Legal, I mean, somebody that has knowledge of this situation.
Chair.
Hold on, that's a question for Rhea. Hold on.
Let me look at the policy manual and see what it says, because it might take an amendment to that, to do that. But I feel like it says that.
We did. Can I respond?
Julianne, then Sonia.
I just want to respond real quick. In our personal policy and procedures, we amended that you have to be equal to the job description being advertised to sit on that board. That was one of our amendments that's going to be passed tomorrow, just so you're aware.
But that's not what's happening at present. See?
That's the amendment on the personnel policy that we worked on, that's being passed tomorrow to go be sent to full council to be approved. That was one of the amendments, because that was never in that personnel policy. That's why she was able to, come with me, we're gonna go and do this interview. But the amendment is that to be on that board, for that interview, you have to be equivalent to what you're advertising and interview.
Sonia?
Yeah, so that's my question too. I've been saying that not only with this job, but with all the positions, we have to have the right people on that panel to be interviewed. So if you're going to advertise directors, you should have directors sitting on that panel interviewing and selecting those positions. That's where I'm coming from. And I think, you know, when we're asking for this position, this is something that's Inspector General. So who's going to be sitting, like she's saying, if we pass it tomorrow in Finance Committee, amending that personnel policy, still has to go to Tribal Council at the end of the month. It's got to get approved. So who's going to sit in this are we going to get some Inspector Generals from different places to come in and interview this position and select them, this position? Or are we going to, like what Davey said earlier, could we utilize the legal office? You said it, Julianne and Norman. So we just need to put something in here that says that, to add it in there to say that the legal office will do the interviews or do something there. We need some language in there. So that way before it goes to council, we'll have everything on paper. So we need to do that.
Go ahead, Norman.
The qualifications for that is bachelor's degree. So anybody who has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and law enforcement and public administration or related field will be qualified to make the interview process. Now, I think everybody, to be honest, what are we scared of? You know, what are we scared of? we're gonna make that selection because they're a merit employee. We can do the interviews and send them on, but what I'm afraid of, and to be perfectly honest, is we do have some tribal council that are afraid of this person. And that's where the holdup's gonna be. But this isn't a majority vote. It's simple majority. So all we need is one more vote for yes. And this is off the ground. And I think we have it. So that's all we need for this to get going. So I say let's just run it the way we do. The hiccups will come and go, but the money will be found and we're all gonna be happy. And we won't have to answer the hard questions about who's embezzling and who's malfeasance of funds, because that will be answered for us. So let's not be scared.
You was almost ready to back out.
I was trying to soften your heart there.
Yeah, but how deep is your prophecy?
All right, if there's no other questions or comments, Cora, run the vote.
Then we'll work out the other part then, about the interview stuff. We still need to order
Like I say,
those.
Straight up.
hypocrisy only goes so far.
Yeah,
Over the weekend.
we better have the right people interviewing.
Straight up.
Like,
Ronald Randall?
not something just.
Right there, look at
Like,
that one.
the
You can
budget.
Question mark.
Yes or no? Use your mic.
Yes.
David Whitman,
Yes.
David Poyer,
Yes.
Richard Greenwood,
Uh-huh.
Craig Dillon,
Yes.
Norman Stanton Soldier,
Sonia's tears make me say yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Wesley, Linda Rosender,
Yes.
Julianne Spotted,
Yes.
9 yes.
And yes.
We're on the road.
Motion passed. Go ahead, David.
You be voting before your term's up.
I just want to make one comment.
I'll bet you $100 you
Monday in land, we did the same thing. We beat everything to death, and we're beating this. And this is what needs to happen in committee. Rather than go on a council floor and take 2 hours and not accomplish anything. So I think we need to beat everything to death in here, that way we don't, but some wait till they get the mic in here and they get on the radio, they get glorified that way. But we do need to debate these things in committee, thank you.
And if you remember, Davey, this was all debated in finance before it came here.
And remember now, we still got the other council that's gonna.
I know that, that's what I'm
Go ahead.
saying, we're gonna beat it to death again.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ed.
Council, I think too also, I've seen it 2 times today here, they bring a resolution on, and somebody says, motion, and then somebody stops and says, hey, we just have questions, so maybe suggestion when there's a motion, and when a resolution comes up, maybe chair could ask for questions or whatever, because I see twice today you guys did that. As soon as it comes up, sometimes it's but intentional too or unintentional, they want to get it passed rather than motion. Second, so there's no discussion a lot of times. So just to help out, and once again, guys, this is kind of big too, that we're going live like a council meeting now.
Yeah, they're all listening to us.
Yeah, there's people out there listening now.
Yeah, but these.
So all I'm saying is you guys will do that, and also too, council can have your attention. Another thing too, and once again, I'm saying this ain't me saying it, it's listeners out there, tribal members, that they want to hear your vote, how you voted. So when you're just sitting there and you don't use your mic, yeah, or you go like this. Once again, it's not me. You guys can look and kind of make all kinds of faces if you want, but it's not me.
It's the tribal membership out there that would like to hear that. So if I pissed you off, I didn't mean to, but don't speak for
Chairman, we should, this model that we did in council, our secretary will always state if you didn't use the mic, Rich Greenwald votes yes, Rich Greenwald votes no every time, in every meeting, you know?
That's what should happen. She's probably voted yes.
Yes.
Okay,
And just to clarify something, that happened 4 times, but someone came late, so they only recognized 2 times.
yep.
I concur.
So, next item on the agenda, the NARF, Native American Rights Fund. You guys all got a copy of that?
That's the first time you come out. I think it was still doing, we have one on West County.
Sure.
It's in there. Authorizing pay, yeah, it's on there.
So, that was just to get permission to move forward on the agreement with Jackson County. And, so they were asking for, formally asking for permission to move forward on it, so that's all that is. And that's to, work out an agreement on the satellite office for 1 week, setting hours and location and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Motion. Oh, that's beast.
I would motion, but we did this already, but we'll motion again, so.
I'll put a second on that motion.
Beef has the motion, second by Craig, for approval.
Rich. Yeah.
Going to XP.
And forward to XB.
Yeah.
Go ahead and run the vote.
Satellite office concerning 1 week, Jackson County.
Ronald Randall.
Yes.
For the election.
Ole Whitman.
Yes.
David Clear.
Yeah.
Richard Greenwald.
Yes.
Craig Dillon.
Yes.
Norman Stanning Soldier.
Yes.
Sonia Little Weston. Blaine Little Thunder.
Yeah.
Julianne Spotted Bear.
Yes.
Rich is a sick man.
9 yes.
And yes, motion carried. Okay, moving on to item 14, the chief judge.
Yes, Chair, thank you. So you all should have in your email her packet.
With the chief of police.
She submitted her letter of intent, she went through the background, submitted her application. She got the clearance from HR, so everything is good to go. At this point, I don't know if the requirement is for us to make the motion to approve and request for a special session with the chief judge. What's the next step?
We're here at
Yes,
the
so you
building.
want to set up a meeting? It could be a special, or you
Yeah,
can
we
do it
just
at
want
regular, it's
you
up
guys
to
to
you
be on the
guys.
same page because
If you do a special, get her on board quicker.
witnessing
I
in
think
front of law
due
and
to
order
the
committee
circumstances we're dealing with, that'd be my
gives you a lot
motion,
more strength.
is to accept the letter of intent and request a special.
A special.
Need from one another.
Oh, we're having a special with EB&D.
Yeah.
Oh, when is their special?
This coming week, or this,
When is it?
supposed to, whatever we're,
They're supposed to work it out tomorrow.
Yeah. Well then,
Yeah.
if their special is soon, then I'd like to add that to their special.
Well, just the issues that you have at hand, you know, what you're concerned with. And that's all we need to address here today. Yeah, please.
That's my motion.
All right, thanks.
and could you say who the judge,
My motion is?
applicant is?
Slow motion. Laurel and.
Yes. Is to accept the applicant. Is it Juris Doctorate or Judge?
Laurel, yeah.
World Iron Cloud.
But do you address her as Juris Doctorate?
No.
What's her title?
Yeah, she meets all the qualifications, and
What's her
just,
title,
her name's
doctor?
Laurel Ironcloud. She's an attorney
Juris Doctorate.
with a Juris Doctorate.
What's her title?
That's
That's it, she's an attorney.
So her is to accept the attorney Laurel Ironclad.
Go ahead, Davey.
Chair, I remember it was last week or the week before, we talked about this, and then HR said that they were waiting for documents. I mean, because we got an email just says she's interested. I mean, there's nothing saying that everything's been sent in, I guess, put it that way.
Yeah, so just recent, like today, right before the meeting, at 10:15 a.m., she sent the whole packet. Yeah.
Second.
Second by Rich.
They're adding to that other special.
Yeah, but ED&D can have one, push it in there with it.
Did they set a date?
Could you check with, Anthony?
Yeah, that was next Wednesday.
Angelina.
First.
Yeah. Ronald Randall?
Yeah.
Paula Whiteman?
Yes.
Gary Clear?
Yes.
Richard Primo?
Yes.
Craig Dillon?
Yes.
Herman Standing Soto?
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston?
Abstain.
Blaine Little Thunder?
Good.
Julianne Spinner?
Yes.
So, I was just updated, there was no date set for that special. They're waiting for the treasurer. So if you wanna do it next Wednesday, we can dedicate that time for this,
Special.
to make a special on next Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so just change to next Wednesday.
Yes.
Schedule.
The one item?
Just one, just that one and
The
only?
IG?
With IG on there too.
Yeah, IG also. I'm gonna book on you so that you can't vote
Are you
anymore.
resigning?
Julianne, is that okay with your motion?
Yes.
Okay.
You better be nice.
I'll make you brother and sister.
That way you can't vote on anything after that.
I'll take the roll out, unless you guys.
Gas? Did that woman guy that fell off?
Norman, if you see me sitting out here with anybody,
You're holding it down pretty good.
So I have to send out that form for signature. Can I sign for all of you? Do you guys all agree?
yeah,
Yes.
yes, sign for me,
Okay.
For the special, guys,
for next Wednesday.
can she sign for you?
Make it easier.
No, I don't trust her. Forging my signature, who knows? Get in my bank account.
I will sign for myself.
Oh, shucks, I won't be able to be there.
Hey, motion, let's
Yeah,
get this guy.
sign for all of us.
Sign me up.
It only takes about an hour then.
Okay, let's run that
I
vote.
trust you, I trust you,
You
Norman.
have to recuse yourself anyways.
Yeah.
8 yes, 1 abstain, 1 not voting.
We'll give her in.
Motion carried. Okay, so next is Julianne again, housing.
Chair, the housing's on her way, and I don't see the chief of police here. However, it can be moved to Little Moon
Okay,
until they get here.
yes. Go ahead, David.
TV, radio, just to let you know.
The reason I wanted it on is there anything in the code on the incident that happened at the Little School? And I don't want it to, the reason I want it on, is there anything in there, other schools may, hopefully it don't ever happen in another school, but is there anything red?
I'm not aware of what happened, I just know there was an incident, but I don't know anything else. But, I'm assuming the schools are addressing it?
That's my question, is because I didn't get it. Last week, I got a copy of a letter that was sent to me through text. And it says something about to the effect that parents and guardians were notified. And in there it doesn't say what the incident was, and then some that got it, and then some are saying they didn't get it. So, but I'm trying to say that, because I know we're on.
So I know that they're.
I know we're live on Facebook or something like that. I'm not asking for any names, I'm just asking for protection of the kids, and I just don't want it to happen in another school.
So as part of their policies, each school's supposed to have a safety plan, so they should be implementing whatever that is in their policies. And I also am aware that Education Committee will be addressing it.
But it's a law and order issue. We need to make sure there's something in the code for protection of our kids in case it happens to somebody else.
Yeah, it's hard to answer, David, because I don't know the details or anything.
Well, that's something to do with drugs.
I think that's something that's a real issue that's going to be becoming more prevalent with the legalization of marijuana, and our kids are getting a little more sophisticated with things, and how people bake goods and they make gummies and different things like that. So I would maybe think about having that be like a special topic where we could sit and discuss that, because we need to be careful with what we ingest in this day and age. I mean, you can't just, like, I get kids come up to me all the time and, Rich, you want a brownie, you want this and that, because they just love me. I'm their favorite lunch grabber, But realistically, and I don't want to break hearts, and I just try to put it away, and I don't eat it, I don't ingest it, because you never know when they're playing games with their buddies, think it's funny, and they're going to give you something that might get you high, especially if you're driving the bus or you're in charge of kids. And we know it's happened before, where a teacher is given something that ended up being laced with some marijuana. So it's going to happen, and the more and more we have it here, we need to start discussing that and doing training with our schools. That's where Dana could come in, to get this training and education out to the schools, and maybe the schools will implement it in their policies.
Yeah, I think it's really important to put it out there that even though the tribe legalized marijuana, you still have to be an adult to have possession of it or ingest it. So if children are out there, if they're minors, high schoolers on down, if they have possession of it, that's a criminal offense. So I think I agree with Mr. Greenwald. We need to educate our people on that. Because I think when we say legalization of marijuana, everybody thinks, oh, I can have this regardless because it's legal. But no, it's not legal for everybody. It's legal for adults, and even within that, there's some parameters that have to be followed. So.
See what I'm saying? What I've heard is rumor. I mean, until you see something in writing, it's rumor. But I'm hearing that high schoolers and some staff were given some of this stuff. But what about these little bitty ones that go, if they get it I'm just hoping that it don't happen again. What I'm looking at is the safety of the children. Because them little ones are innocent. Even some of the high schoolers are innocent. And if we don't have nothing in the law, there isn't a damn thing we can do about it. Something has to be done is what I'm saying. And I know the schools might have it in a policy, but it's not, it might not be in our traffic code.
I think it would come under your controlled substances, it could come under the marijuana code, could come under child abuse and neglect. I mean, if you got parents that are allowing that, I mean, where's the parental control here too? You know, so there's contributing to the delinquency of a minor. You know, there are laws in place. I think people just need to be aware of them and what can get them into trouble. So marijuana might seem like it's harmless for most people, but there's still some illegal issues with it, and parents need to know what those are.
That was my whole question.
Oh, okay. Is the education committee aware of this too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Norman.
You know, criminal behavior occurring on school grounds does not make it, and if, you know, they're not immune from the criminal code of the tribe. As a matter of fact, it becomes enhanced when you do anything illegal on school grounds. What happened at Kyle probably isn't an isolated incident, but it can be an eye-opener. And it was a violation of one of our criminal codes. So I don't know if the education committee needs to take it on. I think it should stay here in law and order. And we should find a full report and make sure we know 100% of what happened at Kyle, because if we don't, we're just presuming what happened out there. And maybe we can get some type of report from law enforcement as to what happened. That way, the listening audience will know that this is what occurred, and then we aren't spreading any more that has to be spread.
Is the chief of police coming?
We're having trouble getting hold of them.
Might be busy during that incident too.
Yeah, that incident that went on.
But that's all, you know, I have to say, but I think we really should hear what's going on. And if we don't, this is where we start. If we don't have anything in our criminal code, this will allow us to make some laws to protect the school from this day forward. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Yeah, so we've been trying to get a hold of the chief of police, but no avail.
Does he have a?
He gave us his cell number.
Yeah.
Captain?
Yeah, probably busier.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Our captain is the acting chief.
I mean, what kind of laws do we start with, you know? Because they could do anywhere, bro. They feed us here.
Yeah.
We buy baked goods outside, you know, what's them
We
from
buy everything.
doing that to us
Yeah.
as a retaliation for anything, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's out there, it can happen. So, what are we gonna do? Stop having baked goods on the reds?
Uh-huh.
You know, don't bake cakes because it could have weed in it. Don't sell me cakes because it could have weed in it. I mean, it's just crazy.
I quit eating, thank you for that.
Don't buy from Fuller.
I'm on a fast.
See, the nurse was smiling well.
Is the chief of staff still available? Can he stand in for the chief of police? Yeah.
Let me get a hold of them.
Okay.
Sure, I think this is a good conversation because it sounds like it might be happening more and more, so I think it deserves at least the committee to maybe have our attorney focus on looking outside of the reservation of what kind of other laws that are out there that are pertaining to drugging or intentionally drugging somebody without their knowledge, you know. Even if it's a prank, you know, it's still a criminal activity. And to see if there's something that we need to do in our law and order code to strengthen it, to make sure that those areas are covered. So I think it's at least worth our attorney taking a look, come back in a couple of weeks, a month, and say, this is what I found, this is what we can do, and then we can look at our code and doing a code revision in that area. If it needs it, maybe it might not need it. And compare it to our tribal code, Madam Attorney. So I'll actually make a motion to that, just because I think it deserves a second look, just to make sure.
I'll second that.
Because Bo's right, it could happen to us, and here people could be mad at us.
Okay, so, could you repeat your motion for Cora?
To have our attorney research this issue of people intentionally drugging others. Let's see what it looks like in the federal system, the state, local municipalities, and then take a look at ours, and then come back next month and maybe we do a code revision, maybe we don't. But just to research it and bring it back.
Second by who? Oh. Go ahead and run the vote.
Ronald Banner,
Yes.
Willard Whiteman,
Yes.
David Clear,
Yes.
Richard Greenwald,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
That's our
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
Julianne Swatted-Hurst,
Yes.
7 yes, 3 no voting.
7 yes, 3 not voting, motion carried. Okay, Julianne, we have both parties here.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, committee, for allowing this on. Last night, we had an issue that was not isolated. It was several issues that happened on 2 different areas in our neighborhoods. And it just seems that it's starting to get to the point where it's getting out of hand. And one area was specific to our youth and another area was specific to adults. And in our housing board, and I asked for housing to be here because in our housing board, we did speak with our housing CEO regarding one of the homes that the incident involves. And it's getting to the point where, I heard the gunshots across town, well, not even across town, across the neighborhood. And it was basically it was like not shotgun, but it was like a burst of shooting.
Somebody sent me that video.
Right, and so you can hear it, so I can't imagine what the neighbors felt like with their kids in their homes with that kind of gunshot in that neighborhood. And so that's why I asked for it to be in law and order, because we know that our law enforcement is really short-staffed and they're being stretched very thin. So we can't put the onus on our OST DPS. And we can't always say that it's somebody else's problem. This is an individual problem. But how do we get our grasp on this and do our part in trying to provide some safety to our people around those affected areas? And there was another video of a group of kids just running throughout the neighborhood, and several cameras catching these kids running throughout the neighborhoods. Again, this onus is not on our law enforcement, but some parents have to take responsibility in this as well. And so that's why I've asked for housing and the chief of police to be here. And I know the chief of staff is over the chief of police, so thank you for being present. But these are matters of concern, because people should be able, our constituents should be able to live comfortably in their homes. They should be able to sleep comfortably in their homes. They should not have a fear of their property being damaged or abused. And we were talking about this the other night, that we have to make sure that everything is pulled in, secured. There's just no comfort in our homes anymore, and it's getting worse. And so that's why I've asked for it to come to law and order. We've strengthened our laws, we've talked about what we can do, where we're at, but it's just at a point that the same talks we're having just seem to go nowhere at this point. I don't know if this needs to, the specific discussions need to be in executive or not, so just advise me what it needs to be. Go ahead, Carrie had her hand raised as well.
Do you want to go executive?
Does this need to be an executive?
Yeah.
That's my motion.
Okay, a motion. Time? Time?
13:49.
155. 155.
55 executive, okay. 155.
It's 5 to 2, what are you guys talking about? Hey, nobody, somebody needs to let y'all know, because
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can't turn off the system.
Yeah, Cora's got to turn hers off too. And Cora, she went to the bathroom though.
I don't want to know.
the dog father.
That sounds like a Mark or an Eve problem.
Special Tribal Council meeting agenda on 11/12/25.
In limbo.
Ronald Randall?
Yeah. Yes.
Fuller Whitman?
Yes.
David Clear?
Yes.
Norman Sunny Soldier?
Yes.
Cornelia Hot Person? Blaine Miller? Julianne Swedler?
Yes.
7 yes. 4 no.
7 yes, 4 not voting, motion carried.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Davey, second by Julianne. All in favor?
Yes.
All you mentioned are going tomorrow to
Yep.
that
Yeah.
event?
Except for me.
Oh, okay.
Really not better.
Before I leave.
She's a whack or wave or what else? Remember
Yeah, are we having 5 minutes tomorrow here?
We are.
Okay, turn off. Just because I go. It's a whack and a wave and what was the other one?
Remember the personal policy and procedure? But we